You all set, Chairperson?
Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the April 27th, 2023 Parks, Recreation, and Community Service Commission regular meeting to order at 5:40. This meeting is taking place entirely in person in the City Council chambers. The public is accessing the meeting via the Santana YouTube channel, our city's website, or on Zoom. Please bear with us as the technology may disrupt the flow of the meeting. Will the recording secretary please call roll?
Thank you, Chairperson. Commissioner Gomez,
Present.
Commissioner Nelson, Commissioner Matthews,
Present.
Commissioner Wu,
Present.
Commissioner Torres, Commissioner Diaz,
Present.
Chairperson Herrera.
Present.
You have a quorum, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, recording secretary. Now, can we please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Great. Now, next on the agenda is, actually, before that, we're actually going to have presentations for employees of the month. And I have distributed the employees of the month throughout the commissioner. So each of us will be reading, at least for now, for the amount we have, and then we'll alternate. So can we have Commissioner Sen Matthews begin?
Thank you. So the employee of the month for this, was presented to Mike Kahara. Mike brings a wealth of knowledge to his role at the zoo. While he has been here less than a year, he has worked hard to learn the ropes at the zoo and contribute to the robustness of its maintenance team. Mike comes in with a smile and will help with any task. Recently, in the heavy rains, Mike proposed and coordinated adding rain gutters to the cow and pony building to help alleviate the amount of mud. He has remedied no small number of plumbing issues, worked consistently with all staff to accomplish projects big and small, whether it has been adjusting hours for a specific work request, taking over Saturday shift, installing safety bars, suggesting tamper-proof hardware for sign mounting, or learning which plants to collect for the zoo animal browse. Mike's friendliness and willingness to learn and know-how are greatly appreciated. Thank you for your service to the zoo, Mike. Please join me in a round of applause for Mike Kahara. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Commissioner Wu, would you like to read your employee of the month?
Yes, I'd like to honor Terry Hernandez. She's been working with the zoo for city for 18 years as an education specialist. And Terry stated that the city started as a volunteer, then a part-time program coordinator where she developed education programs for students and is now a full-time zoo educator specialist. Terry has become an integral part of the education program for both school groups and zoo guests, especially those involved in our ambassador animals. She is primarily trainer for the staff and volunteer worker with the ambassador of animals, having developed and written procedures from industrial guidelines, protocols for how the animals are handled and presented to the public, taking part in discussions on their care and well-being. She continues to put a healthy and safety of both animals and people first, while maintaining fun, professionalism atmosphere. Terry has taken a new project, including the development of print, digital, and handheld material to improve the accessibility of the zoo for guests and different abilities. Her commitment to the well-being of animals and people and her enthusiasm for having new things and sharing them with everyone is inspiring to the youth staff and volunteers that she mentors and invaluable in the education department of the zoo. Thank you very much, Terry.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Commissioner Diaz, would you like to share your employee of the month?
Sure. Our employee of the month is part-time employee Joanna de la Riva. Joanna de la Riva has been with the city for 5 years. Her position is community center aide. She has been an integral part of Sarana Parks and Recreation's family for the last 5 years. In that amount of time, Ms. De La Riva has worked for her department in an array of different capacities that have included senior services and recreation services, to name a few, as well as her current community center's aid duties. Her current position provides Ms. De La Riva the opportunity to work day-to-day with contract instructors in the following areas: contract instructor payments, agreements, insurance, and providing information on changing trends to all instructors and parents of the programs. She has demonstrated many attributes that have been of value to the division and department. Ms. De La Riva also assists with monthly Kids Night Out program, which currently boasts over 60 instructors, parents, and participants of the program. It is not unheard of for Ms. De La Riva to stop her busy schedule to assist someone in needing help registering for classes or just asking for resources. She goes above and beyond the call of duty in representing the department in a positive and professional manner. Lastly, and probably most appreciated, is her attitude. Many people often comment on what a pleasure it is to work with Joanna due to her attitude and positive personality. The division is extremely thankful to have Joanna as a part of the team. Please, let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you so much. And our last employee of the month, we actually have here in the room. I don't know if we can have Jesse be recognized, Jesse Soto. They started on January 5th, 1994 as a part-time program leader. Do we have this mic here that's open? Yeah. Yeah, so we're recognizing them today. So you've been at the Parks and Rec since 1994. That's really great as a part-time rec program leader, number 2. Yes, and as the full-time recreation leader at Salgado Center, Mr. Soto has been instrumental in developing and implementing the teen excursion program. Making a difference in the lives of teens in our city is what Mr. Soto is most passionate about. He's worked for the city for over 29 years, and most of this time has been spent working with and assisting the community in any way he can. His can-do attitude and resourcefulness have been key to the success of the teen excursion program, as it has provided positive alternatives in the areas of recreation and social services, as well as education for youth in Santana. Currently, Mr. Soto is also developing excursions to colleges, so teens have opportunities to visit college campuses and learn about curriculums. From coordinating transportation for teens, developing center activities, or simply taking the time to listen, Mr. Soto can be counted on to make everyone feel welcomed and appreciated. In the past, Mr. Soto has also provided assistance to the department in the areas of senior services, aquatics, and after-school adventures program, to name a few, which included program development and administrative assistance. The attention to detail that Mr. Soto puts into everything he does is also a strong testament to his outstanding leadership skills and dedicated service to our community. His work ethic and positive attitude become a positive influence on the rest of his peers, working peers. Mr. Soto's always ready attitude and willingness to lend a helping hand to any tasks makes him a role model to those around him. So if we can give a round of applause to Mr. Soto.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Soto, do you have any words of inspiration for the commission over your time here?
Yeah, I want to thank the Parks and Board for giving me this opportunity to receive this Employee of the Month. I want to thank Hawk and Tim and all the other people that work for Parks and Rec. And I just want to give God all the honor and glory because he's the one that's kept me here for 29 years and I'm still here. And I'm going to be here probably for a little bit longer. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Can we take a picture? Will the commission enjoy me in taking a picture? And a Starbucks. Yeah. Recording secretary has asked us to speak a little bit closer on the mic, so thank you all so much. Thank you all to the Parks and Recs, to the library, and to the zoo staff for continuing to honor our employees of the month. Please continue to submit those. I think we have amazing staff that sometimes like working behind the scenes, but I think it's great that the commission is able to recognize them. And I'm glad I was able to share this experience with the rest of the commission. I know I was reading them and I felt like you all should be a part of the process as well as kind of, so we look forward to more recognitions and employees of the month. Great. So for this agenda, for the next item, we have the consent calendar. Before that, now is the time for public comments. So recording secretary, does anyone wish to speak with us in the public or over Zoom?
Chairperson, we do not have any public comments.
Oh, dang. Okay. Well, I hope the public is out there watching, viewing, and is able to join us sometime soon in person or provide comments over Zoom or over email to be involved in this democratic process. Okay, great. So next on the agenda are consent calendar items, but I have been advised to push the consent calendar items to our next Parks and Recs Commission meeting. Is there anything else that needs to be added, recording secretary, outside of that?
Thank you, Chairperson, commissioners, and members of the public. We are tabling the minutes for next month as we're having issues with our PrimeGov system and being able to download them. So we'll have those for you guys to review at the next meeting.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay. Next on the agenda, we have quite a long business today. I'm glad we do. We are getting out there more as a department, and so I'm really excited to share the news to the public. And so next on the agenda, we have a couple of items. I'll now turn this over to Executive Director Scott for item 3, which is our information on the budget for Parks and Recs.
Thank you, Chairperson. Members of the Parks and Rec Council. Just going to give you a bit of an overview and about our budget, and you guys all should have some handouts. And we just put this together just to kind of give you an idea of, some major points and then kind of like basic of our operations and such like that. So. All right, so the Parks, Recreation, and Community Service Agency, currently we have 60 full-time employees, 221 part-time employees, and for the current budget year, our budget is $15,275,621 million, which accounts to about 3% of the overall citywide budget, which is about, if I believe, 480 million, I believe. All right, we're divided into 3 sections: Parks and Recreation, the Zoo, and Administration. With our Parks and Recreation division or part, we currently have 47 parks, but that will be expanding. So what I'm giving to you is what we currently have. We have the recreation, 10 community centers, special events, 10 fitness courts. Those are relatively new. Recreation trails, 5 municipal pools, 4 community gardens, 2 senior centers, 2 log cabins, 2 skate parks with 1 on the way, 2 lakes, one of them which will be getting renovated very soon, our tennis center, and of course our historic stadium. Our Parks and Rec divisions, are divided up into 6. We have the athletics, we have aquatics, we have the community engagement, recreation, which is divided into 2 subdivisions, which is health and wellness and community education. We have our seniors and we have our special events. Just want to make note that the park maintenance operation was moved to the Public Works Agency this fiscal year, but we still do have oversight of it. So it's, it's a great move, for funding purposes and grants and such like that. Santa Ana Zoo is one of our bigger divisions in the things, and they're responsible for providing destination and community and surrounding region. Their focus is let's have some fun, let's have some adventures, inspiration, learn about conservation, wildlife, healthcare, and care, and to educate the community to save wildlife and wild species. And our zoo division is divided up into 3. We have the animal health and care division, we have the education and conservation, and then, of course, we have the facility operations. Administration is another part of us, and they are responsible for providing management and administrative services to support the department, including financial record keeping, process agreements, to create reports, office operations, payroll, and budget. So they oversee basically all the ins and outs of both the Parks and Recreation and Santa Ana Zoo, and they're great. They're divided into the account support, budget management, as well as administrative support. Currently, our current commissions is the one which you guys are on, the Parks, Recreation, Community Service Commissions. We also have our Parks, Recreation, and Community Service Youth Commission. And last but not least, we have our City Council School Collaboration Subcommittee. Some of the accomplishments that we like to highlight for you guys, and this all ties into the budget, is, our city produced events. Our July 4th, Chicano Heritage, Fiesta Patrias, Mid-Autumn Festival, Indigenous Peoples Days, Winter Village, Egg Hunt, which we just had, our 10K, 5K, which we just had, Movies in the Park, Summer Concert Series, and a Bird Series, as well as the Boo at the Zoo. A great thing that has been huge and instrumental is the plan, design, and release of our new Cultura, which is a community connection guide. We are actually getting ready to put out our third version coming out mid-May. So we're very excited for that. It's going to be one of our bigger visions. I believe we got about 48 pages in it. So a lot of great stuff coming. And then I wanted to highlight one of our newest parks that will be coming online, Ed Carreras Park, which is on the corner of Riot and Myrtle. And we're estimating June 23, maybe even early July. And something else I want to highlight is we were awarded a contract to add 2 additional primate habitats to our giant river otter habitat project there at the Santa Ana Zoo. So that is really huge for our zoo, because that will also take away 2 of our original habitats, which have been there since the beginning. So we're really excited for that, and that'll open up some more space to, even bring in some more species. All right, so our FY 22-23 general fund. So like I mentioned earlier, our budget is, 15.2 million. We're estimating that we're going to spend about 14.9, which is about 98%. But again, that can change. So we're estimating at the very end of this year to have an estimated remaining balance of 375,621. Again, that's just an estimate, but with that savings, we can, send that toward a project, maybe lighten up another field, or if we have any shortfalls anywhere. So it's always nice to, we plan our budget, we execute it, and we try to stay on track to have that savings at the end of the year to send it somewhere. Also, our proposed budget, we just had our first meeting with council, or this will be our second coming up. Our proposed budget is still being formulated by the budget office. City council to discuss budget at our upcoming 2 meetings in May 2nd, and then we have a special one on the 11th and a 16th council meeting. Council to receive 23-24 proposed budget at June 6th council meeting, and from there they will, debate of what we need to make, any changes, additions, subtractions, anything like that. PRCSA anticipates to receive at least the same level of funding for 22/23. PRSA has submitted estimates and supplemental budget request. PRCSA, wants to continue to provide the events that were provided in 22-23. And then going into that, based on a comparison of public benefits to costs, some events will be expanded while others will shrink. And probably one of the biggest thing about this budget is our cannabis public funds. It is anticipated to decrease. So we're potentially going to have a $2 million decrease from the amount allocated in PRCSA in 22-23. The biggest hit to this will be the capital funding project, which will mainly be affected. Some additional funds I wanted to point out to you guys, which is not a part of the budget, but it is also funding that we do get on the Parks and Rec side, which also can support the zoo, is our cell tower revenue, our acquisition and development fees, any grants we apply for, and of course, donations. And on the other side with our Santa Ana Zoo, they have 2 events that, is a fundraising for the zoo. Our Zoofari, I will say first, because that has been an annual event, and something we're introducing this year, July 28th, will be our Brew at the Zoo. which is gonna be a lot of fun. Ethan can talk a little bit more about that when he gets up here. And then we also, at the zoo, we have earned revenue, which is rides, gift shops, and concessions. Those three I just mentioned are done by our partners over at the Friends of the Santa Ana Zoo, who is our 501c3 nonprofit partner. And then, of course, with the zoo, they also put out for grants, and of course, we always take donations. And that concludes my presentation. Do any of y'all have any questions?
Do we have any questions from the commission? If no questions, if not, I have a question. Let me pull up. I know that I'm glad that you, Executive Director, thank you so much for the presentation. I think it's good for the commission to be informed about, the budget that's being submitted, so then that way we can provide feedback. And I'm always going to be a champion for advocating for more funds for Parks and Recs, and so to the extent that the rest of my commissioners are also, I think, would support additional funding. And so, but aside from that, I think for the, thank you so much for outlining. I think at the last city council meeting, there was attendance also with per the events and kind of like cost per person that attended. So that type of information I think is helpful for us to kind of consider. There's all of our events are great, and so to the extent that we can use some of the funding equitably where there may be higher attendance to kind of, I don't know, make it that maybe there was additional expenses that could have been made that we can kind of use for other events. And so that information I think was helpful to kind of make a decision. I did see that the initial funding was 3%. Generally, I was looking at the Parks and Recs budget over, I think, the last decade, and it's probably stood around, like, I know, jumping from 13 million to 14 to 15. So is the 3%, is it because there's missing? Because I know generally I was looking maybe at 7% budget for the Parks and Recs, or are there other funding sources that are considered for Parks and Recs that kind of help meet that gap?
Yeah, so the 3% is what we are with the entire city. So that's, the library, the police department, the plan, like all the departments together has their budget. And when you put that all together and you total, our 15 million is only about 3% of that entire budget. So we're a small piece of the pie.
Is there Measure X funding that's also considered in the 15 million?
Yes, that is part of it.
That is part of the funding. Okay. Is there additional room to request more funding from that, or is the Measure X funding kind of already?
It is kind of set in stone till 2030, I believe. And then, like I said, it starts to, the term CAT always uses it, it starts to sunset.
Sunset. Okay. Yeah, I know that there was a one-time funds that were requested
Yes.
for Measure X. Okay. And I think that there's definitely more so on the facilities portion here on the other current commissions, the city council, school board, or the school collaboration committee. I think maybe we can have a presentation for the parks master plan, maybe not next month, but the month after that on school board collaborations. What's that called?
The joint
Use, correct. Yes, the joint use. I think I know that looking at the Parks Master Plan, using all of our, those joint use, it's not going to alleviate all the problem, but I think I was looking at more specifically like Spurgeon Park. I know that that there used to be a joint use site there, and so it may have expired, I think, to my understanding. So to the extent that it's like, hey, we'll take any parkland that we can. And we should, and so I think that would be helpful to kind of explore a little bit more of those joint use sites.
Chairman, I'm glad you brought that up because I just had a phone call from, about a couple of weeks ago from the principal at Fremont School. They also do not have a joint use of the school. And the school was originally built because of the park, El Salvador Park. So I was really surprised. So I would like to have a speaker on that and why it's taken so long. There's different issues with that, and it's been, he's been communicating with me about these kind of problems. And then also the added fees were kind of a very big surprise because the school uses the school park for some activities and there was an added cost, but thank you very much. It was fixed at that time. There was discussion and brought up to Hawk to negotiate with the school to lessen the cost to use the pool there. So I would really like to know why there is such a big problem with that, since we have these parks and we have these schools as important for the children in our neighborhood. So I think it's a very important subject.
Great. I think, yeah, we'll probably agendize the Parks Master Plan.
I mean, I can give a bit of an update. I did meet with the principal and, we do have something in place. I am pinning a meeting with the superintendent to see our ideas where we are working together on that. So we did have that meeting, was it last week? I believe last week. So right now it's just pinning the superintendent to meet with me and see if they like that idea. And that could be the basis of a full master agreement, which we're trying to create. So this could be the start of one, but again, we had a great meeting.
I think it's very important that we do begin this meeting, and I'm glad that Roberto also has, I didn't know about Spurgeon School and the other school, that they should be all together in this joint use.
Yeah, that's our goal, to create one master agreement with the school
Great.
and the city.
I'm glad we're going that way.
So,
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Great.
Chairperson, if I may,
yes.
just want to remind the commissioners that due to the Brown Act, we do have to stick to what we have on the agenda. We definitely can bring other items as we develop the agenda for next month. We definitely have to stick to the budget portion of that. I understand what Commissioner Wu was saying, but we do have to stick to the Brown Act on that.
Thank you for the reminder, Recording Secretary. I did, in relationship to the skate parks, I was out with one of the groups, SAS and Skate and Meet, and right there at Mariposa Park. And it was a really great event to see the youth. I know the park closed at 8 o'clock. And so I don't know in terms of like hours or, maybe we can for the summer or just thinking about like expansion. They also mentioned at Centennial Park, some of the lights, they needed better improvement at the lights. I don't know in relationship to costs, I don't know if it would be that much of a cost, but those are just some of the feedback I heard in relationship to the skate parks.
Yeah, so we do have a cost, what it would be to light up Centennial Park. And again, that has been submitted, but again, it's a high, pretty good 6-figure thing. As far as Mariposa Park, the neighborhood association met with that park, so that the park does stay open, but the skate park itself does close early per the request of the neighborhood association in that section. Just because of the noise the skate park makes, and it sits right up next to the community.
Yeah, okay. And I did, I saw some empty bottles and I was like, like if we had lighting, maybe that would alleviate the problem. But great. Thank you so much, Executive Director.
I do have a question, sorry.
Yes, Commissioner Diaz.
Yes, I have a quick question. I would just like to find out if in the budget, would there be any additional planning, any additional teen spaces in any other community centers? Or is that in any part of the budget?
I'll let
Thank you.
Executive Director.
Thank you so much for the question, Commissioner Diaz. At this time, we have the 2 locations for Teen Time. Of course, we have our Teen Space, which is sort of our original teen location, which is located at the main library right here in the Civic Center. But at this time, we have our Garfield Teen Time Space, as well as our Teen Time Spaces at El Salvador. We don't have any more planned at the moment. We do have a number of other projects that the library is working on, though, to expand, including additional bookmobile, new sites at Delhi that I'll be giving a presentation on today, as well as refurbishments of our main New Hope libraries and an outdoor public library at Jerome Park.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other questions on the budget?
I have a question. Maybe you could, I'm not understanding. On page 7 on our printout, it says, well, the first bullet, I'm sorry, maybe the third. It says that we anticipate to receive the same level of funding, but then the next block says potentially a 2 million decrease from amount allocated to Parks and Rec in 2022, 2023. Can you explain that a little bit? I'm confused.
So the city manager, they anticipates us trying to stay status quo. So she'll see where she can pull from her funding so that our programs continue to run as is. And so a big one of that is, with our events budget. So that's why we're expected to stay status quo.
So then when you put 23-24 cannabis public benefit fund under that one, it says a 2 million decrease.
Correct. And once we get the official numbers from our finance department, we'll know what the real number is, but we're expecting it to be that from early numbers.
So we are expecting a decrease from the cannabis.
Yes, from what the early numbers have shown, correct.
And is that because monies is going to be allocated elsewhere or just because cannabis use is going down?
Cannabis use is going down, and as well as we have the tax cuts that the city council approved a couple of months ago. So it's a
Thank you.
combination of both.
Perfect. Thank you.
And any additional questions? Thank you so much, Executive Director, for the budget.
You're welcome.
Okay, now I think the next business that we have is, I'll turn this over to Susie Furgenak, our Parks Planner, to give a presentation on the Parks Master Plan. I've been working with Susie to provide monthly Parks Master Plan presentations. This one specifically is on how future development and density is going to impact our parkland. And so, that we do anticipate having more development in our city. And so what impact will that have on our existing parks, which is, we may need to expand our parks. And so, or figure out some solution for the demand. And so Susie, I'll hand it off.
Thank you. Good evening, Commission. It's good to be here. Yes, I am here to speak to you about our city's density and projected density. So I want to start off by talking about the Trust for Public Land is an entity that profiles 100 of the most populous cities in the United States. And our city of Santa Ana is among those 100 cities. In fact, we are in the top 100 most dense cities that they profile. And we're in pretty good company. If you look at the other cities that are in that top 20 with us in California, Anaheim, Long Beach, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland. We're legit. We know this. Other US cities for comparison include Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia, Seattle. In addition to that, we give them data and they in turn give us metrics back. And one of the things they told us is that only 4% of our land area here in Santa Ana is dedicated to parkland. Of the 100 cities, we are number 99. The other cities that have higher percentages have kept pace with their development. Even though we may not have kept pace previously, we still have a chance to try and do that now. So our population is expected to increase another 8.3% by 2030. According to US Census data collected in 2019, our population was estimated at 334,744 people. They project the population in 2030 to increase to 362,591. That's 27,817 more people in the next 7-8 years. In addition to population, our density is going to increase. Per our city's recently updated general plan land use element, there will be 36,261 additional housing units by the time we build out in the year 2045. Population growth and housing density increases. These increases are going to add strain to our already strained park system. So the couple of some information about a couple of plans here. So as you are aware, last year, city council adopted a new general plan. The land use element of that general plan identified 5 new development areas, 5 new focus areas to concentrate this new residential development. These 5 areas are in addition to 7 already identified development areas here in the city. Along with the general plan update last year, we adopted our first Parks Master Plan. And the Parks Master Plan recognizes that population growth will be concentrated in these areas, in these focus areas. And the plan provides some recommendations on how we can provide more recreation and open space opportunities accordingly. The 7 planning areas, the 7 development areas that have specific plans that occurred prior to the update last year are listed above. The adaptive reuse overlay, Bristol Street corridor, harbor mixed use corridor, Main Place specific plan, Metro East, Midtown, and the transit zoning code. The 5 new focus areas that were added as part of the general plan update last year include South Main Street, Grand Avenue, West Santa Ana Boulevard, the 55 freeway and Dyer Road, and South Bristol Street. Here is a graphic that shows these 12 areas, the 7 from prior to 2022 and the 5 new focus areas. That shows the distribution throughout the city, shows how many of them are concentrated along arterials. So the impacts, as I mentioned, the impacts of this new development is going to strain our existing park system, and it's going to add additional needs. As we all know, our new Santa Ana standard is 3 acres per 1,000 residents. This is in the city's general plan, and this is also stated in the Parks Master Plan. If we don't, currently, we are at 1.1 acres per 1,000 residents. If we don't add acreage, this number is going to shrink as our population increases. So the number 27,817 people that we will be added to our population by 2030, which is in less than 10 years. What this means is we need to add 83.45 acres just to keep pace with that additional 27,817 people. If we wanted to, before even adding those 83 acres, wanted to get to our goal of 3 acres per 1,000, we would need to right now add 580 acres. That's equivalent to Miles Square Park. I apologize, I'm throwing a lot of data around right now, and I hope I know the points are well taken, and I hope it's clear. What this ultimately means is by 2030, in order to achieve our current goal of 3 acres per 1,000 residents, we're going to need a total of 663 additional acres. And it's a pretty tall order. So going back to the general plan. So it's the land use element where this new development is identified. It also includes a series of actions that are identified or that are assigned to all the agencies throughout the city. And these actions are intended to lessen the impacts that result from all this development. In the land use element, there's 4 goals and 60 actions for everyone. As it relates to parks and recreation, our actions fall under goal 4, land use 4, which is called complete communities. And the goal of that, the mission behind that goal is to support a sustainable Santa Ana through improvements to the built environment through a culture of collaboration. And there's two in particular that they identify in the land use element that they want us to implement. One of them has to do with public-private open space. They want us to develop and adopt standards that require the provision and maintenance of publicly accessible, usable open space within all new development projects. So as these new development projects come into the city, they want us to be at the table during site plan review, giving comments, reminding them that they need to include an open space, a substantial open space component as part of their project. The second action item for us has to do with open space acquisition funds. And it reads, that we should identify opportunities for and pursue grants to fund the acquisition of additional open space in underserved areas. One thing that it doesn't say that I've added here is grants alone, and I have another slide where I'll talk about this a little bit more, but grants alone can only do so much. We're going to have to be more disciplined going forward about the use of our acquisition and development funds, which are our residential fees. This is what we collect when developers come into our city and build new housing. I think we're going to have to pay closer attention to how we use those funds in order to achieve our open space goals. So in the Parks Master Plan, these 5 new focus areas are identified. It speaks to the existing conditions within these areas, and it also has some recommendations on how we can maybe keep pace. So the first focus area is on South Main Street. The existing conditions, there are no existing parks. More than half of this area is an environmental justice community. Also within this area are what the Parks Master Plan refers to as gap areas, and these are underserved areas. Among the recommendations, they suggest that we look to complete and improve our Golden Loop Bike Trail, and this has to do with connectivity. The Golden Loop Bike Trail loops around the city, and although there may not be a facility within a 10-minute walk, at least maybe hopefully there could be a trail that somebody could walk, jump on a bike, and get to a facility. So improving connectivity is one suggestion. Exploring joint use agreements is another. And within the South Main Street focus area, there are 4 schools that have been identified. And then the last item that is being suggested is to acquire parkland along Main Street or the Golden Loop corridor. And this is a graphic that shows where focus area 1 is on South Main. It's kind of behind those 3 green highlighted areas. Those 3 green highlighted areas are the gap areas in the Park Master Plan, and then the blue behind it is focus area 1. Focus area 2 is on Grand Avenue at 17th Street. Again, existing conditions, no parks, no trail corridors. South of the portion of this focus area that's south of the I-5 is considered an environmental justice area. And this focus area also has 3 gap areas. Again, Park Master Plan recommends that we complete our Golden Loop Bike Trail. We explore joint use agreements. We improve access to the nearby Chepas Park and Mayberry Park, and we explore other acquisition options. And here's a graphic that shows the location of focus area 2. Again, the Three green highlighted areas are the gap areas identified by the Parks Master Plan, and the blue area behind it is the focus area. Focus area 3. Advance. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Focus area 3. So there's 2 existing parks within range of this focus area. There's 1 existing trail corridor, the river, Santa Ana River. The entire area is considered an environmental justice community. And again, there are 3 identified gap areas that fall within this focus. Parks Master Plan recommendations, again, complete the Golden Loop Trail, invest in Angels Park, explore acquisition of Spurgeon Park, explore options to acquire and develop Willowick Golf Course as a citywide park, and explore options for joint use agreements. And again, focus area 3 is behind the 3 green highlighted gap areas. Focus area 4. 55 freeway and Dyer Road, southeast portion of the city. No existing parks or trails. The area west, this area straddles the 55 freeway. The area west of the 55 overlaps an environmental justice area. And there's 1 underserved gap area. Parks Master Plan recommends that we explore options to acquire a new neighborhood park, recommends that we increase connectivity by developing a trail corridor along Warner Avenue, and recommends that we extend the Class 4 trail corridor along Warner Avenue and East Dyer Road. And again, here's the graphic that shows the location of this focus area in the southeast. Last focus area is South Bristol Street. Existing conditions, no existing parks. The Alton Avenue bike trail passes through this area, so we do have connectivity. There is no overlap with environmental justice areas, but there are 3 underserved gap areas. Park Master Plan recommends that we invest in improvements to Segerstrom Triangle Park, which currently is a passive open space area that's undeveloped. Recommends that we improve access to Bomo Coral Park and that we explore joint use agreements in the area. And again, here's a graphic that shows you the location of that focus area. So going forward. So there are 2 areas where we could make significant gains that have been in discussions on and off over the past year and a half. One is, and one currently, Willowick Golf Course was the big topic about a year and a half ago. Currently, there are some discussions surrounding the Riverview Golf Course and the potential use there. But right now, it's just discussions. They're big. This is kind of a big deal. So there needs to be a lot of exploration and time. With regards to future revenue streams that could help make some of these things happen, there are opportunities and there are also challenges. Measure X is one such avenue, but as we it was said earlier, this measure is going to sunset starting in 2029, and those funds are going to get less and less. Same with the cannabis funding. Revenues are starting to decline. Grants, we're always very aggressive about going after grants. We will continue to, but knowing that quite often the scope is what we can go after could be limited. They're competitive, they're not guaranteed, and the programs that are out there do end. But we are taking advantage of every opportunity that we can. A&D, which is the abbreviated term for the acquisition and development funds, the residential development fees that are collected when a developer pulls their permits for a big housing project. These have been very important. But because of the challenges they've been used, the intent for these funds are for acquisition first and then development. And if those needs are met, then deferred maintenance. But because of all the needs in the city, we have tapped those funds. They are hard to project. And again, we'll have to have very careful conversation about how we spend them going forward. Partnerships. These are important. They've always been important. They're going to be more important, but we need to continue to explore our collaboratives and our joint use opportunities with entities such as OC Parks, Santa Ana Unified School District, Garden Grove School District, the Orange County Flood Control District, and the State Coastal Conservancy. And then one last item that we're starting the conversation about is the possibility of a tax measure or park bond, which would, if successful, be hugely significant for us in our future. And with that, that concludes my presentation. Feeling like I came across kind of dark and gloomy, and I apologize. I didn't mean to, but I take this stuff really seriously. I'm park planning, and I zoom out and try to have this perspective. I think it's very, very important to have this in order to make progress going forward. So with that, I thank you for letting me share this information, and I will take whatever questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Susie. You've been amazing. And I think preparing for this presentation, I think it's a little scary knowing that there's going to be a lot of pressure on our parks, right? And I think we need to raise the flags, right? About, hey, we love our parks, and, I think we want the best for our community. And so how is it that we not only use our funds to improve our current parks, but think about ways to expand our parks to meet the incoming need that we see? Housing is going to be built, and more folks are going to be coming to our city. And so I think we need to be considering these things and where we need to pull funding from. And I love at the very end, you lay out possible options. We do have a new supervisor for representing this area. And so to the extent that I know the county has funding, how do we partner with them to be able to fund some of our parks? I don't know if we have a regional park, from the county, but
We did.
but hey, we need to be out there talking with our new supervisor, Sarmiento, and the OC Parks Commissioner, Ray Diaz, who's the District 2 Commissioner. Susie, I did have a question. In your presentation, you mentioned, I'm thinking about the Planning Commission. When development is considered, do they pay a fee, or do they have to consider park development as a part of the plans that are proposed?
Both. It's both. They pay a fee based on the number of bedrooms that they are adding. And we do require that they provide some open space as part of their project as well. I don't remember the exact percentage, but I believe the planning department has a goal.
Is it considered as a part of the planning, or can they opt out and pay a fee?
It's part of the planning.
And the funds that do go into the acquisition development funds, residential development fees, are those where I wrote, what does the funding go towards?
So I should, with that, so the city is divided up into 4 districts, acquisition and development districts, and the defining lines are First Street and Bristol. So there's quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. The districts within, or the development projects that happen within each of those districts, that's where those funds live. And it's within those districts that the funding is supposed to be used to offset the impacts of the developments in those areas. So again, the intent of those funds, first, acquisition and development to keep pace with the new housing that's brought in. But over the years, decisions have been made to fund capital projects.
What are capital
Do
projects?
capital projects, they're new additional facilities, new facilities that are so far gone that you have to rebuild them.
Bathrooms?
Yeah, that would be like, so a brand new restroom would be a capital project. A restroom that's 20 years old that needs a facelift, that's a deferred maintenance project. A restroom that's 50 years old that needs complete replacement, that might be considered deferred capital. It's not new capital, but it's deferred capital, but it still fits in that heading. So, a lot of the projects that the funds have been spent on in the past have, teetered between deferred capital and new capital. But because of the needs and the lack of funding that the department has seen for projects in general, the A&D has been tapped to, build facilities, improve facilities, which is very, very important. But at the same time, acquiring properties, expanding parks, equally important. So it's like we had these two big needs tugging for the same pot of money, and can't do it all. So hard decision had been made in the past on how we spend it. My point here tonight is that we need to continue to have those very cautious, considerate discussions when we think about how to spend it, because there are times that account is flush and then it's gone. So it's not a renewable resource for us. So we just need to take a step back and examine, where we're at, where we need to go, and be careful with every dollar going forward.
Great. Thank you so much, Susie. I'll maybe check in with you a little bit about those buckets and where how much funding we have left. Thank you so much for putting the wards. I know we have different commissioners for different wards. And so I encourage you all to look at your ward pages and talk to your city planner, commissioner, and, your council member about ways to improve your specific ward, and so I think we shouldn't be competing for funds. There should be all these parks are all of our parks, right? And so please, I think I just wanted to mention that. Any additional comments from the commission on this presentation? Commissioner Diaz and then Commissioner Zacarias Torres.
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
How much in lieu of fees does the city currently have for city parks?
I'm sorry?
How much in lieu of fees from the developers does the city currently have for?
That we
in lieu
currently
of-
have sitting in an account? I believe it's about $10 million. And that's totaling all 4 districts.
Oh, okay. So those particular funds stay just for parks, but they don't go to the general fund, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
My other question is the Riverview Golf Course currently zoned as open space or not yet?
That's actually a really good question. And I want to say yes, that it is.
How does, this will add more open space in the city?
I'm sorry?
How would it add?
Well,
Would it
we're as part of our open space because it's not publicly accessible.
Oh, okay.
If it were publicly accessible, then that changes.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much, Susie. Great
Commissioner Zacarias
presentation.
Torres?
Would we be able to use the park bonds to,
Acquiring those golf courses is going to require a lot of conversations and a lot of collaborating with neighboring cities, supervisors, our elected officials. We absolutely could if everyone is in agreement about going in that direction. One of the things, if we're able to get the green light to maybe look into and pursuing a tax measure or park bond, one of the things that we want to do is identify projects so that we could how do I say it? So that we could make it real when we go out to the public, and not just be general, we need money for this. No, if you support us, here is what we will deliver. Here are some specific things that we can deliver for this community. We want to identify a city park. We want to identify X number of neighborhood parks. We want to identify expansions. We want to identify improvements or added facilities. So it's hoping that we can get there.
Any other questions? Commissioner Wu?
Yes, those triangle parks off the river, are those belong to the county? Because they're not mentioned in the paperwork. And
Yes,
how
they
do we
do.
collaborate with them to fix some of it up or the bike lanes to make it more accessible? Well, they are accessible, but look better, so to speak.
So you speaking to the 17th Street Triangle and the
Yeah,
Fairview
there's one on
Triangle?
Fairview, And there's one on
Yes.
Edinger, I think there's three of them. And then there's the one that's, I think it's being developed by the city that's right next to the Riverview. That burned down the bridge.
Yeah, we're going to be rebuilding that.
That
Edna
belongs to the
Park.
city.
All of those properties are owned by Orange County Flood Control District. We have an agreement with Orange County Flood Control District to utilize those areas as public open space. And the agreement is we, the city, the general public gets to use them. We, the city, maintain them.
Okay. And so the beautification of them belongs to the county though.
The,
Okay.
That's on us. That's on the city.
And if we had the Riverview Park, the Riverview Golf Course, could we use it as a business as the golf course too, plus add for the community walkways through that? Could that be a possibility, do you think?
There are so many possibilities. We could do anything.
Okay.
We could do anything. And we would need to start those discussions and hear from everybody and fold everybody's thoughts together. But I'm quite confident that there is huge potential there that could serve everyone. We just need to do that concept planning, develop those concept studies to see.
Thank you very much, Susie.
Of course.
Thank you, Susie, for helping this commission understand the role that, we are in a poor park city. And you laid it out very perfectly for why we should be acquiring or considering to acquire more parkland like Riverview. And so to the extent that we're able to just provide options, hey, this is, this is what it's right now, but this is what it could potentially be, and all of the parks our parks are for everyone. And so I think making it publicly accessible and I think you lay it out that we need to expand. And so thank you so much, Susie, for the Parks and Recs presentation.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Great. Now I will turn it over to Manager Pagano to go over our special events presentation.
Good evening, Commission. It won't be me tonight, much like what we did last meeting where we invite our supervisors up. I have the pleasure of introducing Monique Leone, who is our special events supervisor, and she will give a brief presentation about our upcoming special events. So here's Monique.
Hi, Supervisor Leon.
Hi, how are you tonight? Nice to meet you all. Thank you for having me. Oh, is it too high? How's that? Is that better? I thought it'd be too high. I had a feeling. All right, so thank you for having me tonight. What I'm going to do is a quick recap of some events we just had and then discuss our events moving forward for what we consider our summer season. So for our events recap, we recently had the Egg Hunts on April 8th, our Northgate's Kids Dash, and our Santa Ana Fun Run. For the Egg Hunts on April 8th, we had 6,500 people in attendance. One of the first things that we were able to plan out, and I'm very proud we did this, it's our first year, is we had a therapeutic needs area. So it was an area kind of tucked away to make sure that any kids who needed extra time or the noise was too much, that they had space needed to be able to participate in the Egg Hunts. We also made sure to get, and a Power of One Foundation donated these stuffed animals so that anybody who had any kind of grip issues could also pick these up and join in the fun. We gave out 25,000 eggs, a lot of eggs. We had 5 age group areas. It was fantastic. We have the Lions Club. They held the pancake breakfast as well, and they sold out that day. So they were very excited about that. Looking forward to next year. We had our first annual Northgate Kids Dash, which was April 21st. It was at the stadium. It was our first time doing this event. We had over 300 kids registered. Every kid who participated received a medal, and they ran different distances based upon their age. Northgate was the sponsor for this event, and we were able to include the community by getting mascots and cheerleaders from different high schools, including Century, Saddleback. Our own zoo had a mascot there, as well as Chick-fil-A came down and provided their mascot for the day. And Northgate was able to give out some information from their store as well. So they had space as well. Then on Saturday, the next day, the 22nd, we had our Santa Ana Fun Run and Fit Fest. New things this year was the first time holding our 10K event. Also, it was our first year as having a Fit Fest after as well. This year, we had over 3,000 registrants for the run. It's great for our advertising. The event was also sponsored by Northgate. For the Fit Fest area, we had different exhibitors. We really focused on reaching out to local gyms and having space and information. Center One Climbing Gym was there, Orange County Soccer Club, Planet Fitness, different groups like that. We also had a beer garden for the first year. After a race, a lot of runners like to carb load after. So we were able to work with United Across Borders and Cervecito to sponsor the beer garden area. So that was also very popular. That will be back. So those just recently happened as of last weekend. So moving forward, we are going to start off with our summer movies in the park. A quick recap of Juneteenth, summer concerts in the park, Shakespeare in the park, and 4th of July. So for the summer movies in the park and the concerts, we went through and tried to hold events in every ward, starting there now on Fridays this year. That is different. There are Fridays, there was public requests to have it a little bit more accessible after work. So we are trying to do that and make it kind of a family friendly thing. So Friday, June 2nd, it's Lego Batman. We'll start off at Centennial Park. Friday, June 9th will be the latest Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which will be at Roosevelt Walker. Friday, June 16th is Sandlot at Thornton Park. Friday, June 23rd, we're going to work with the zoo and hold the Zootopia movie there. Very excited about that. Friday, June 30th, we'll be having Beauty and the Beast, the live action version at El Salvador Park. Friday, July 7th, Night at the Museum for Jerome Park. And Friday, July 14th, Coco at Portola. And we're looking at bringing intentional and targeted added elements to these events. We're going to reach out to like Bowers for Night at the Museum, see if they'd like to be involved with us and have some space there. Working with maybe some high school groups, the baseball teams for the Sandlot, to see if they'll come and, you know, work with the kids and teach them maybe to throw, things like that. So we are working now on the added elements for these events. In June is our Juneteenth festival. That is Saturday, June 17th. Currently, we are in the final planning stages of this. We are working with the Orange County Heritage Council on this event. We will be having entertainment, car shows, a barbecue element, different vendors, and the specialty inflatables will be back. Or Shakespeare in the Park, traditionally it is held on a Thursday, but due to us having concerts on that day, we are going to also try to bring it on a Saturday, July 22nd, see if we get more of the neighborhood to be able to come out instead of trying to rush home from work, see if how the attendance works with that. So it's the first time on a Saturday. The play will be Hamlet. We are coming back to Birch Park, and we're going to work with the Birch Park the senior center right there at Birch Park, and work on an art project that gets displayed during the play. So that'll be fun. And we're also going to be working with the local restaurants, inform them about us being out there that night and see if maybe we can work some sort of dinner deal for the event. That's in talks. So our summer concerts in the park, also rotating parks. So those are on Thursdays. So Thursday, July 20th, we're having the Latin Soul Band at Rosita Park. Thursday, the 27th, it'll be Stone Soul Thornton Park. Thursday, August 3rd, will be Suave at Jerome. And Thursday, August 10th, will be Sangria at Memorial. And those will have the added elements of inflatables, food trucks, and those are the details we're finalizing now. And our 4th of July, we have 2 bands. That event will be on Tuesday, the 4th of July, 5 to 9. We have the Smoking Cobras and Chico. They will be out there. Again, specialty inflatables, our food vendors. We're looking at expanding our kid games and activities, maybe some sort of water game since it'll be pretty warm out there that day. And our fireworks show is scheduled to be 20 minutes. And one exciting thing is we have started working with the zoo and collaborating a little bit more on events to make it more connected. So first example is the summer movie in the park with the Zootopia. We've talked about maybe bringing out some of the animals to that space and the kids can interact with that. We are assisting them with the Brew at the Zoo event on the 28th, providing support. And then what we're looking to expand and create this year is the Boo at the Zoo event on Friday, October 20th, making a kid-focused trunk or treat event. And, you know, maybe a movie out there, inflatables kind of expanded out for what it is. And then on the 21st, doing an adult fright night, quote unquote, that's not necessarily the title, but, you know, another movie, another adult focused Halloween night event in that space. And hopefully we get some more options coming up. I'm really excited about those. So beyond that, we're not done with the summer, but that's what we have so far. We are starting the planning stages of the Chicano Heritage Festival and Fiestas Patrias, but those are in the very, very, very beginning stages. And the parade is returning this year to Patrias. So that is something that I have begun working on. So yes, those are all the events so far through the summer. Any questions for me?
I have a question.
Yeah.
In the past, the commissioners are able to judge some of the event floats. Is that
Yes,
still
yes.
gonna happen?
We
I
are
mean, just to add it in there for your planning stages.
Yes, we are starting to meet with the community groups about the parade, and I know that's one of the elements in the past. And so we're going to be touching base with everybody
Very cool.
to make sure what elements need to come back. And I'm hoping it's
Yeah.
the.
And then I did have another question. I noticed your list for movies in the park. I participated almost in all of them last summer. I thought they were really amazing. What I especially liked is the different tables that you guys had with different organizations.
Yes.
So if an organization is interested in being part of the outreach during movie nights with the park,
Yes.
who do they contact?
So one of, there's a special events at santa-ana.org email, and you can email them. And we have a list of vendors that we reach out to for every event. There are so many community groups that want to be a part of our events, which is fantastic. So what we did is we centralized our list, and then we reached out and we're being very intentional about which ones we bring to that event. So the kid focus groups will be able to come out to the family friendly ones, and, you know, the Fit Fest, we had a lot of our medical contacts out there, Ultimed, Cal Optima, things like that. So we're being very intentional about that.
So if somebody approaches
absolutely.
us wanting to participate, tell them to go to the special events website and send an email.
That just that email, just use that email and let us know that they're interested in participating, and any contact information, we'll reach out to them and get them on
Thank
our
you.
list. Of course.
Any additional questions from the commission? Commissioner Diaz?
Yeah.
I have a quick question. About a year ago, I put together an event. It was the Concert at the Pacific. I tried to get the showmobile, and
Okay.
they say it was no longer available.
Mhm.
But it was a month or so later, it was available to another neighborhood association. So I kind of felt like if it's not going to be available for one, it should not be available for all. Like I'm
Sure.
about, let's all be equal.
Right.
So they said, we don't have a driver that has a Class A license. I said, I can totally get someone. And they said, no, because we don't have someone that could take care of it. So
Mhm.
I would just strongly suggest that if it's available to one, it should be available to all. And I'm just about being equal to all.
Sure, absolutely. And I don't know what happened in that case. I've been with the
I
city
know.
for 7 months, so I apologize.
I know.
But the showmobile is available for rent. There is a cost, and I know the setup is one thing. There are specifically trained staff who set up the equipment, and it kind of unfolds. And that's how you're able to set up and use it. So maybe that's what they were talking about. I unfortunately don't know, but it is available for rent. There is an application you can fill out and submit for that.
I thank you for
Yeah.
that. And also I want to thank you for having a movie set, Roosevelt Walker. Like, I'm so excited for it. Like,
It'll be great. It'll be great.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah, question.
Commissioner?
So sorry.
The funds that get acquired from the pancake breakfast and the to help fund those. It's in the rec budget.
Neither. They're actually, the nonprofit takes that money. So for example, the breakfast, the Lion Club buys all the items in order to run it, all the food, all the plates, utensils, everything. So that goes back into them. It's a fundraising opportunity for those nonprofits. And same with the beer garden. Cervecito works with United Cross Borders in the Fit Fest case to go ahead and raise money for them. So we like to give opportunities to different nonprofits to raise money at the events for themselves too.
Is there maybe an opportunity for part of it to go back to fund the event or to go back to Parks and Rec? Because especially since we're going to be having a budget decrease, I'm just trying to think of other funding opportunities for Parks and Rec or for
Sure.
special events.
Sure. So example with the Lions Club, they use the funds from here to service the community as well. So they provide eye services to those in need as one example. So I know that they have to reach out to different groups to provide volunteers for this, and it's a big undertaking for them. So there is a concern that if we take from the nonprofits, then they're not going to want to participate. But what we are looking into is a vendor fee if they want to sell at the event. There's other options we are exploring. We just haven't completely fleshed those out yet. Yes.
I would like to know if the summer lights is going to be this summer.
I'm
The
sorry,
Summer lights,
summer lights.
yes. Are they?
I do not know about that one.
That's usually neutral ground, no? Summer Night Lights. It's I think it's an organization that puts that on.
So they're going to be here this year.
We haven't received any notification from neutral ground at this point, but
Oh,
we're
okay.
anticipating, and I don't know if Bill will probably be a good person to.
Thank you, Manager Pagano. Yeah, as manager stated, we have not received any information yet. When we do, then we'll go ahead and touch bases with that. But as of now, we have not received any information regarding that event.
Yeah, we'll be reaching out to those as well. It goes to that special event email and my team will reach out and we'll arrange that. Yes. We do have a vendor list so that we can keep track of everybody who's at every movie and all the updated contact information. Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, you're more than welcome to be there, but we just like to keep track and we also have to make sure that we have the number of spaces. So we just keep a list for every event as to who's attending. It's not a problem to have you there at all. But just for yes, they are very much welcome. It's for logistics, we just have to, but welcome anytime.
Hi, and go ahead, Commissioner Diaz.
Sorry, I have a lot of
That's all I had.
questions. The, what's it called? Plaza Calle Cuatro.
Mhm.
That's considered part of Parks and Recs, right? So when people hold events in that area, do they also fill out special events?
Yes, the other half of my job is to do the third-party permitting. So we permit the Plaza Calle Cuatro as well. So there is a special event application process everybody has to go through. And I have a team of 5 full-time staff where we're doing all the permitting. So since January, we've done 100 permits for throughout the whole city. And some of them are plaza as well.
And with those events, where can we see them? Like, because if we're not, let's say, for example, let's say Angie has an event in that area, but I don't follow her on social media
Mhm.
or so. Do you have like a list?
We do not have a list. We do not have one. Currently, we give information for street closures and whatnot, but
Yes. I see this.
if it's not a city-sponsored event, it does not go on our social media.
Oh, okay.
That is a city policy that it's city-sponsored events on the social media. I do not have a list. I can look into that though, but I don't know.
No, I was
Interesting
just
idea.
wondering, because sometimes some
Yeah.
of those events are like, so nice, like the salsa and the cumbia nights.
Yes, they have those twice a month.
Yes,
And
and
then
so
you-
sometimes if you don't follow
Sure.
their social media, you don't know when those events are happening. So I was just
Sure.
thinking maybe Parks and Recs had it somewhere in a little calendar.
There's no
No.
calendar at the moment,
Thank you.
but noted.
Great. Thank you so much, Supervisor Leon, for your
Yeah.
presentation. I did go to the Excellent event and it was very cute to just see the youth really just be out there and be entertained. So I think it was a low cost event per the amount of folks that attended. So, just shout out to the team for being out there and putting such a great event. I was not able to make it out to the Run and Fit Fest, but I did see social media and, it was a big event for a success for us. I did see, didn't see for the movies in the parks, Santiago Park, maybe because there's construction, but I think it's always a great venue and once it's
Sure.
complete, I'm sure
Absolutely.
we'll be able to utilize that space, but looking forward to that. For Ward 3, we did have Portola Park. So I do love the event. I encourage the commission to attend. I did want to, I had been working, emailing executive director on seeing if we can have neighborhood initiatives and environmental services agency with Margarita to see if we can table there. They can table at some of our movies in the parks events. I think it would also be a great opportunity for a lot of the events that we have. I know last year the summer is coming, and so trying to be summer ready and letting the public know about possibilities for cooling centers that we may have. I know it's been low attendance in the past year, but to the extent that the public is aware of it, maybe we can create a flyer to be like, hey, in the extent that the weather gets extreme, this is our procedure for opening up these communities, our libraries, so at these events, I think it would be important to share cooling center information just to kind of help get the public aware that we do. Growing up, I didn't have an air conditioner in my house. And so with
Yeah.
climate change around the corner. What else did I have here? Summer concerts in the park. I'm excited that you're including the West End, Rosita Park. And that's all I have for questions and comments. So Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you. And Neighborhood Initiatives was at the Excellent Adventure and they ran into things really, really fast. So they were excited to be there.
I'm glad. Thank you so much.
Chairperson Herrera and Commissioners, I just wanted to echo Ms. Leon, since she started with the city. And just to give you a view, she's not only in charge of the third-party rentals, but she also does film permits, and she's also doing all the special events. And her team does an awesome job. She's taken the special events to a higher level than it's ever been before. So her team does an excellent job. So
Thank you so much for what you do for the city. Great. Okay, so next, the next item that we have for new business is our Delhi project presentation. I believe our library director Sternberg is going to be giving a presentation.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Herrera and members of the Parks and Recreation Commission. I'm here this evening to give you an update on our Delhi Center branch library that is forthcoming in the Delhi neighborhood. Tonight with me, I have a couple of my staff members from the Library Services Agency's administration, and I have Hong Ha, that she is our library operations manager, as well as Maria Castro, who is our senior management analyst. So first, I want to talk a little bit about why we're doing this project. I think it's important to always understand before you undertake, any kind of a capital project or any kind of undertaking, you understand why you are doing it and what the need is. In this case, on the south part of the city of Santa Ana, there are really no library services or buildings. Our Knowledge Mobile, which is our bookmobile, does visit that portion of the town. We're at parks, we're at schools, we go to, parks like Thornton, but, we don't have any physical locations there. So, from the time I arrived here at the city of Santa Ana, I always thought it was important to bring library services to that portion of the city, and especially to a neighborhood like Delhi, which, I really feel like there's a lot of value to bringing library services to that particular neighborhood. Also, our partnership and the city's longstanding partnership with the Delhi Center made it sort of an easy decision and it made sense to put our library services there and literally inside the center, and partner and collaborate with the Delhi Center on programs, services, and bringing the community together into a space where people can recreate, learn, grow, and communicate with everybody else in their neighborhood. Also, a library brings free and educational and recreational programs, kind of like what I just said. We're there to offer something to the community, whether it's books, our library of things items, roller skates, whatever it might be, computer use, public Wi-Fi access, that's all there. And it's there in a area of the city of Santa Ana that has not had those types of services before. And then, of course, a place to gather. As I just mentioned, that's really what public libraries are about. They are about community. I mean, we have educational resources. We have books. We have things to check out. We have staff that's ready to help you with your devices or whatever it might be. But really, we're about community and we're about bringing people together. And I think really further establishing, the goals of everybody that lives there and in the Delhi neighborhood. So, when are we going to do this? We're going to do this, the lease begins March 1st, 2023. So we've already started this project and we're in the design planning phase right now. The project is currently with a local architect, SVA, who's a Santa Ana business. So we're proud of that. We're anticipated to go out to bid in Q3 of 2023 for construction. And construction should begin towards the end of this year, 2023. And we're anticipating to open the Delhi Center Branch Library once the main library closes down. So it's going to both act as sort of a temporary location for the closure of the main library, because we don't want to close down a library and not really have another service to add. But it's going to continue on much longer past that. So it's meant to add a service, but once the main library opens, Delhi Branch Library isn't going anywhere. We have a 10-year lease right off the bat, with 2 5-year options to extend that lease after that for a total of 20 years. So we're excited. This is not a short-term temporary location. This is really something that we want to make available to the Delhi community and see it through for decades to come. So, the last part of this, kind of why and why we're doing this is the funding aspect. We had an inflow of revenue that was Revive Santa Ana and the American Rescue Plan Act. So that, sort of spurred this project. And then we were also able to supplement the budget with some Measure X funding that went to fund our design services through our architect. Now I'll talk a little bit about the scope of work. As you can see here, this is sort of focusing in on one corner of the Delhi Center. Right now, you kind of, if anybody's been to the center, you kind of come in through and there's a rotunda, and then there's a hallway that leads down one side, and you have a ballroom on one side, and you have a few classrooms, 101, 102, and 103 on your right-hand side as you head down the hallway. Right now, they're just doors, that lead into just kind of multi-purpose rooms with tables and chairs, but we're really going to reimagine the space inside and totally rethink what it might look like. We're also going to create, exterior spaces. If you add up all the square footage that's on the plan right here, it's only about 2,500 square feet. So it's not a large space, but the great thing about it is that we have access to a larger outdoor grassy area that we are going to convert and essentially make into a little bit of an outdoor public library. There's going to be places for people to read out there, use a laptop, study, maybe attend a program or attend a story time with their children. So it's going to be an extension of the building. And we're looking at connecting the indoor space and the outdoor space with a roll-up garage or overhead door that we can keep open during nice days to really give the community that lives in the Delhi neighborhood that sense that, hey, the indoor and the outdoor are kind of all a part of one vision for this particular library. Now moving on, you can see some of these sort of design references that I was talking about. Inside you have, this glass storefront. It's almost like a mall kind of style. So we really want to make people aware that the library is there. It's inside the center. So we're going to do a lot on both the outside of the building to make sure there's appropriate signage, but also inside the building. So when people walk in, it's going to be very evident that you have a branch of the Santa Ana Public Library right there in front of you. So nothing will be hidden. It'll be very obvious to the community that, hey, this is your local library branch. And then below you can see some, just design references to, what the outside may look like in terms of a reading or programmatic space on the right-hand side. Then you have some, kind of thoughts or in terms of design for the inside of the library, bringing color and a sense of, fun and activity that where everybody's going to want to be. We're also looking at this idea of having what I'm calling a knowledge bar. And that might be a place where not only you check out a book or you get, have a reference question answered, but maybe it's a place where you get help with your computer, or you talk to a staff member about how to get on one of our e-resources where you can, get help with homework, through our online tutoring program. So we're kind of building this all into this space, and we want to kind of, provide it in an innovative but very efficient way because we're working with a small amount of square feet here. And then here's just sort of our first crack at a conceptual floor plan. This does not mean that the library will end up quite looking like this, but this is just I'm sharing with you sort of a first concept of what the space might look like, looking at, you kind of in the previous slide, you kind of saw what it is now, and here's how we might transform the space. So we're kind of opening up the walls in the middle. We have some designated areas for children and teens. We have some general stacks for books and other items like our Library of Things items. Up front, you'll have a place to check out a laptop computer. It's a small space, so we're not going to, fill the whole library with large computer terminals or anything like that. People will be able to, use their library card and, have a laptop dispense out for them, and they can go outside with it. They can go in, sit down in the library and use it. But the idea is to conserve as much space as possible, but still be able to deliver the same types of services that they get at our main library or at our New Hope library. And you can kind of see with the long kind of desk that's towards the staff workroom and offices, which is a kind of a back of the house space. That would be kind of where we're envisioning our sort of our knowledge bar, which is sort of an all-purpose single service point for the entire area. And what you don't see on this particular plan, except for the area that says covered patio, that's just still to be kind of filled in and determined. It's just kind of a conceptual design, but imagine tables, maybe a programmatic space out there, places for kids to play, and then the whole space we're looking at, kind of developing some sort of, definitely not a tall fence or anything that looks, like it's a barricade, but there is a parking lot, just adjacent. So we want to make sure that when kids are playing out there or people are out there, they feel comfortable that their child may not run out into the parking lot and, and they feel like there might be a danger there. So we're looking at ways to kind of, section in the entire space to make it safe for kids as well. And that's on the outdoor part. So, and then of course you look at the back of the house, we're going to have our own restroom for public and staff, as well as some small office area for staff to get work done, or a librarian to to be back there to oversee the entire branch or develop programs and services while they're at our new Delhi location. So, that's really it for this part of the presentation. Now I would like to turn it over to our library operations manager, who's in charge of really developing many of our programs at the library. And she's going to talk to you a little bit more about what the services will be at Delhi.
Thank you, Brian. Good evening, commissioners. All right, so I'm going to bring you a sample of programs and services that we can bring to Delhi community, and for all ages. And for the children department, of course, we have story time, and we provide story time for a variety of ages for the kids. So we have baby story time, we have toddler story time, preschoolers, and we also have all ages story time for the whole family to enjoy. We also have programs and services that support digital literacy. And for example, we have tablets that prepare preschoolers to like concepts for before they enter schools. And those tablets, you actually get to check them out, bring them home, and have the kids play with them at home. The other sample that we have are the AWE tablets, where at the Delhi branch library, the kids will get this preloaded with all educational games, and they can be involved in activities there, playing with like science related, history related. So it's all in one kind of tablet where you don't have to worry about them on the internet doing anything else. It's all educational related fun activities that they can play with. And of course, programming tailoring for families and youth, we incorporate interactive learning. One sample is, of course, the online tutoring program that we provide for K through 12 students. But we also have programs such as the Extreme Lab, where it's a program that target the whole family, so all ages. So you have the little kids learning with their parents, learning with their brothers and sisters, all ages, where they're introduced to concepts like science, technology, engineering, math, arts, and stuff like that. Such a fun program that we can bring over as well. So that's the kid size. So for the teens, of course, we have offer plenty of programs for teens that hit different areas that promote creativities, promote connection with people, with the community. We have volunteering opportunity. We have internship opportunity for teens. And also, we also provide a space where they can come in, hang out, do their homework, connect with each other, connect with the people in the community too. We also have a great Astound program that target I'm sorry, I'm nervous. So the neurodivergent youth, so that when we provide programs, we're able to be as inclusive as we can and target different kids, teens, adults with different ways of processing information for them to be able to engage with the program at any level that the best that we can serve them. So, all right, I'm ready for the next one, adult. Of course, for the adult population, we have professional staff who can connect the community to resources and information. And outside of that, we also provide workshops that can be connected to education, online, I messed up the word, continuous learning. That could be educational, that can be recreational, that can be just fun, art. So we also have programs that focus on art and culture and give people opportunity to see different cultures and dances and just fun stuff, and just to be able to connect with the community in different ways. And of course, we have programs that bring books and literature to the library. And one sample is the Author Hour program that we have, where we invite local authors or some big names authors to come and just have like an intimate moment with the community to talk about their craft and the things that they do. And of course, right now we're currently have the Zip Books program. I don't know if you heard about the Zip Book. We receive a whole bunch of money from the state library. If we don't have a book in our collection right now, and that is a title that you wish to check out, we're able to go online to Amazon. And if it's on Amazon, we'll purchase that title for you and send it directly to your home. So spread the word, because we only have until June to spend all the money. So make sure you spread the word and give us a call or fill out a form online for us to be able to use all the money and send the books to you directly to your door. So that will help us out, and that will help you out too, to get the titles that you need. All right, I'm ready. One more slide. This is technology, of course. So outside of books, you know now that we also offer a technology and a library of things catalog, where it encompasses so many things, tools, gardening tools this summer. You like gardening, we have a whole bunch of tools that you can come and check out and use, return, and share it with the community. We have toys, we have camera, we have technology, hotspot, internet, Chromebooks that's already connected to the internet. You can check them out, use them at home. We also have workshop, of course. We have all these technology access that you have, but we also have staff capable to teach you the skill set that you need to use the tools and the resources and the technology that we provide to the community. And then, of course, the e-library, where from your own devices at home, you can also connect to the library to read the books, to listen to music, to watch that movie, and it's all for free, and it's just with the library card. I'm done. Thank you.
You did amazing, Senator Hunt.
Do you have any questions?
Do we have any questions from the commission?
Not questions, but just reminder us as commissioners, you guys are hosting an event on Saturday, Dia de los Niños, am I correct?
Yes,
So we are having a really famous author, Pete Cat, I want to say.
yes.
So just as to support it, if you've never been, it's amazing event. It's really well thought of. There's a lot of resources. I really appreciate that. And then just really quickly, I heard about the program about checking out. And so I went to check it out and I did get some roller skates. Back in the day, that was very popular. But I did have a concern because I went to check them out in the main checkout, and then they sent me to information, which is fine. But then information sent me back to the main checkout. And then I was able to get the roller skates. And my thought was like, it shouldn't happen like that.
It should be easier, right?
It should be easier. So I don't
Thank
know
you
what we
for
could
letting me
do to
know.
kind of like maybe train them a little. It was the same person who told me go to this other side
Okay,
and then went back and then got it. So I think if we could just work on that a little bit, because I'm thinking about people that might have maybe not as confident as other people and maybe might be dissuaded and they're not going to go back and forth to get our stuff.
I totally agree with you,
Cool.
but thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing that. We'll work on that.
Any other Commissioner Zacarias Torres and then Commissioner San Matthews?
The Library of Things, will the Library of Things from the main library be moved over to the Delhi Library, or will they be getting new items?
That's the plan with the main library closure, that we will hold on to our library of things so that we're able to provide the same service throughout the closure.
Does the Library of Things include a seed library? Just because I know
We
that
just started.
spring is coming.
Yes, we just started. So it's gonna grow. Yes. Ooh, that's a pun. That's a good pun.
Wow, there's so many great services that you've just mentioned. In regards to the hotspots and Chromebooks, how popular is that?
Very popular.
And do we have, I'm part of the Senior Citizen Council Committee as well. Do we have like a percentage of like how many seniors are using these hotspots and Chromebooks or checking them out? Or do they have their own, the senior centers have their own programs in regards to Chromebooks and hotspots?
Okay, so with that, okay, so let me break that down right now. So at the senior program, we do have staff visiting both centers to provide technology-based skill set kind of programs. So as part of that program, we are teaching seniors of the tools and resources that we have available for them, including hotspots, including Chromebooks, and then also teaching them how to use it. And so we are at the senior center to provide that kind of information and services and support. In terms of the statistic, like how many, like right now, that I cannot answer, but at least we are reaching seniors where they're at with that service. Yeah.
Any other comments? Commissioner Diaz?
I have a quick question. For the interactive learning, the online tutoring, how can someone take advantage of that? Like, do they need to check out one of the Chromebooks and from the library, or
That's an option, yes.
or they can use the library card and have access through a computer at home?
So, yes, so right now, I understand that students have Chromebooks from the schools, right? Once school's over, they have to turn them in, come to the library. We have a whole bunch of Chromebooks that they can check out to use in the summer. So that's a way for them to continue with the online tutorial using the library collection to do so. So the online tutoring, that's just a simple form on the internet, on our website, and they can just send in the information, and then one of our staff members will contact them and show them how to connect.
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, they don't need a library card or anything like that
Okay, thank you.
to have that service.
Oh.
Unless
Uh-huh.
we do have another option is the BrainFuse database, or it's a live online tutorial where they do need a library card to use. But that's
Oh.
like an additional service outside of what we also provide.
Oh, and that particular service can be used also at home?
Yes.
Or only at
Yes.
hotel?
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Manager Ha, thank you so much for being up here. You said you were nervous. You did great.
Thank you.
And I wanted to mention in regards to the lease, I know I saw 10 years for the initial and then 5. I don't know if there's room still for extending it, maybe 20-year lease, and then, I don't know if there's still room. But I'm like, dang, we're making a lot of investment into the place that I think that hopefully, we get to, it's not just 20 years, it's longer. So I don't know where that is, but, I would encourage longer lease time if possible still.
Yeah. I mean, the possibilities ended so far in advance.
Yeah, right now the lease currently has a 10-year plus 2 5 extensions. But there's always opportunities to come back and look at it after that, somewhere during that time period to extend. But the city is investing a lot of money in the center, so we are definitely there for the long haul on this one.
Yes, I hope there's a good faith effort, right? from
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
Delhi
And a
Center.
great partnership with the Delhi Center and their staff as well. It'll be very collaborative.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
That's great. The other comments I had were, I know our other library that we're making at Jerome Park, the commission was able to provide or review some of the concepts and maybe some of the vibes, for this new library. And so to the extent that maybe we can get more options, if there's still room permits, just, hey, these are some of the concepts that we have, and some of the, what we can kind of imagine. I want to thank you for including a restroom. I know the restrooms there at the Delhi are gendered restrooms. And so to the extent that we can have a gender neutral restroom that our youth can use. I also wanted to mention in relationship to resources, I think, thank you so much for including a range of resources from youth to adults at that center, at the library, the new library. I think it's really great for intergenerational folks to kind of access this space. And I think working some of the informational stuff that we can carry are things I think to kind of highlight in the area, there's the groundwater contamination. And so to the extent that we can have resources from neighborhood initiatives and environmental services, kind of like, I don't know, a little pocket of like information. I know that they've been promoting a lot of events, environmental justice events that I think would be great for the public to just be like, hey, this is, unfortunately, our water is contaminated in this area, but here's how you can get involved to make a difference.
Yeah, we do have community boards at both of our locations, and thank you for mentioning that. We'll make sure to have one as well at Delhi.
At the Delhi,
Yeah.
yes. And that's it. I think, I think working to have LGBTQ books accessible at the location, I think would be great in terms of, just maybe a little plaque for this is where we have LGBTQ books, I think is, always great for our youth.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manager Hall, for this presentation, and Director Sternberg.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, now I'm gonna be we're gonna be, let me find my script. Next on the agenda are informational items. So no action is needed from the commission on these items. However, this is a time for city staff to provide a brief summary of their reports for commissioners to ask questions. We're going to move things around here a little bit. And our Zoom manager, Ethan Fisher, is going to be starting first.
Thank you, and I apologize for the little change there, but that was very helpful and I appreciate it. Exciting to see everyone in person. Wow, I didn't make last month, but it's great to see everyone in person. It's probably been a couple years since I've been to a commission meeting that we had in person. I think 2019. So nice to meet you if I haven't met you before. Couple updates about the zoo. I don't have everything in here, but there's a lot of different things. With animal services, we are working on a great new project in our children's zoo area to make the area where the goats live accessible to people coming into the yard with the animals. That's a request we've probably had for 25 years. If you've been to the zoo, you know that you pet them or you feed them through the fence. Now you'll be able to go into a larger space with your kids, with your family, and brush the goats and be like nose to nose, face to face, toe to toe. And so we've moved them for this construction period. Also, last summer, we opened a tropical butterfly aviary, which was open for a few months. It took a while to get it open, but this year we'll have it open for a longer run. Officially, it opens May 1st with all the butterflies flying around, and that will go until the end of September. But I will tell you, if you stop by the zoo now, there are butterflies flying around. But May 1st, it'll have the most in there. And then we get a shipment once per week, and all the butterflies come from different farms around the world, from Asia and from Central and South America. And a lot of the different farms that they're coming from work with community in those areas with small families and farmers to provide sustainable source of income for people living in those regions. So it's nice that there's a sustainability element, there's a conservation element, and then people coming to the zoo is just a beautiful experience to have in nature. So that's going on right now. Springtime is a hugely popular time to visit the zoo on a field trip. If you come to the zoo on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning, there's routinely 300 to 500 children running around the zoo with all the parents and the teachers. Very busy. We have different programs that we offer, and this is the time to come visit the zoo if you're in a school. We bring in students, of course, from Santa Ana Unified, but also throughout Southern California. We have schools that come visit from Riverside, from San Bernardino, from Corona, Downey. There's even one school that visits from Glendale. They actually have to drive past the LA Zoo on the way to visit us. But if you think about zoos that are in our area, you're at the LA Zoo, or you might be at the Orange County Zoo, but there's not a lot of resources if you're between Orange County and LA. That's kind of there's not a lot of places to go like us. So it's great that the residents of Santa Ana have the zoo as a resource here when there's other communities that travel very far to visit. I'll note that we have some different jobs that are open. There's lots of different positions in Parks and Recreation. I know the library has positions as well, part-time positions, and there's full-time positions too. So there's a few different opportunities at the zoo that are open right now. Events coming up, Party for the Planet. That is our Earth Day, Endangered Species Day combined event. Earth Day, of course, happened on April 22nd, this past weekend, but we do it a little bit later, and that enables us to get more exhibitors to come to our event. If you tried to do it on Earth Day, everybody is already tied up with all these different events. So we figured we'll do it later, and we do it every May, and that aligns with our third Sunday free resident day. We've been moving over the last year or two all of our different events to try and align with our Residents Day so that we're able to offer more for the community. It used to not be that way. So that runs from 11 to 2. There's different exhibitors. So we have the water department comes, and we have Southern California Edison comes. There's the Nature Conservancy. There's lots of different groups that come and provide information and opportunities and things for the kids to do. And then we have crafts and special presentations throughout the zoo. So that's Party for the Planet. A few notes about operations. Lots of construction is going on at the zoo right now. So if you come and visit, I apologize for all the construction, but that just means we're going to have some amazing things coming down the road in the future. Of course, the biggest construction project we have right now is the Giant River Otter and the Primate Trails project. And that's going to be a really, really amazing exhibit that we're going to be unveiling, hopefully at the end of the year. And new habitat with areas for the otters to swim. And as Executive Director Scott mentioned earlier, very excited to be able to add some more primate habitats into that project while we're under construction, because we have a great contractor we're working with already, and we're already mobilized. We're able to deliver those extra elements to this project for a lower cost than if we came back later and did them as their own standalone project. So we're excited about that. That'll help us move some more animals from the north end of the zoo and remove some of the original animal habitats that are still date back to the 1950s when the zoo opened. If you've driven down the 5 North, you may have seen a new mural on the side of the freeway that introduces you as you come into the city. That mural for Santa Ana, and then also some different improvements that are happening along Mayberry Street when you exit the first 4th Street exit, are tied back to the zoo a little bit around the parking lot that Caltrans owns. As you get off of the freeway, off the 1st Street, there's going to be all different animal artwork along the fence that they've been installing. And some of the city staff and Caltrans staff, we took a field trip to the signage company that's manufacturing that recently. And it's really neat to see all these animals that are going to be along the fence. As you get closer to the zoo, you start to feel that. So lots of different maintenance of projects going on. Some refreshed banners around the zoo along Grand and 1st Street. Those just went up about 2 weeks ago. And I mentioned the Goat Trails project already. And we're, of course, always making improvements to different areas of the zoo. One that we did recently was we made some improvements to our treetops project where some of the monkeys live. New landscaping and new mesh on the habitat to make it much easier to see the animals. And volunteers, that's something that I always report on every time I make a report. We have orientations every even numbered month, and we have so many different volunteer opportunities, whether it's an ongoing situation or you just want to volunteer for an event one time. The Friends of the Zoo that we mentioned earlier as our 501c3 a nonprofit partner. We've been partnering with the Friends of the Zoo for, I want to say about 40 years now. I don't remember the exact number of years, but they have their annual Zoofari Gala. That's a fundraising event that happens every August. And the theme for this year is Through the Looking Glass. So it is Alice in Wonderland themed. And we're looking forward to that event. It always generates over $100,000. And that money goes back to the city for capital projects at the zoo. So money that was raised at past Zoofaris is part of the funds that went into like the Otter project. Birth the Zoo is coming up. That is a reimagined event. We've always done sunsets and we had beer tasting at some of them, but this one is very beer centric, where we're hoping to have about 15 different breweries. We have commitments for some of the breweries in Santa Ana already. And you will come in, you'll get a glass, an actual glass with the logo on it, and you can go and taste beer at all the different vendors. We'll have some entertainment, and this is a 21 and over event, Friday, July 28th from 4 to 8 p.m. So we're not selling tickets quite yet, but if that's something that sounds interesting to you, might want to put it on your calendar. I think it's going to be very popular. And then the last thing on my list is a congratulations to one of the very long tenured staff members at the zoo, Vanessa Anderson, who worked for the Friends of the Zoo for, I think she started there in the mid-90s, but she was with the Friends of the Zoo for over 2 decades and has gone on to retire. And many of the staff at the zoo, and I know the same stands true for the recreation division and the library, have been with the city or supporting the residents in our community for quite a long time, and we're proud of that. So I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions from the commission?
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Zoo Manager Fisher. I think, I think I echo the sentiment. I know folks are like, oh, the zoo, it's like, it's okay. It's coming through, like, let's have patience with construction. So I'm looking forward. I think you mentioned maybe at the end of the year, everything will kind of be set into place. So maybe 2024 will be a great year for promotion and for a lot of folks to kind of experience the zoo, for what it's going to be. I'm thank you so much for considering a 21 and plus over event for programming that we have here at the city. I know trying to make it cool, I think is that's a great event to kind of have folks kind of come through. Sounds fun. I think I might be coming through for that event I don't have any other comments or questions. Thank you so much for always aligning the events with Resident Day. I think that that's very excellent. It provides an overall experience for our residents to kind of go through. Sorry, I didn't mention I didn't have anything else, but I know we also were thinking about accreditation. You know, I don't know if we have word back or anything, or in regards to the accreditation.
Yeah, I can talk about that. So we were accredited previously by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and that's kind of the gold standard for zoos and aquariums in the US. There's, I think, about 10% of the USDA licensed animal facilities, which are about 2,000 in the US, are accredited. It's very, very stringent, and they want to make sure you're doing everything where you need to be. So we had some challenges, mostly with facilities, and that sort of ties back to what the park planner for Janik was saying about all of our facilities in parks. And that has always been an ongoing challenge with us with accreditation. So we're in a program called the Pathway to Accreditation. We have a mentor. We've been in that program for a few years, and we're looking to have another inspection, hopefully within the next year, and then hopefully at that point we'll be able to be accredited. But as far as the staff go in our operations, we do follow closely all of the accreditation standards, and they range across all elements of the operations at the zoo. So they're from green practices, how you conserve resources, conservation programs, scientific advancement, visitor services policies. Do you have a DAI program? They go back to veterinary care, animal care, capital improvements, and then of course your long-term funding and what that looks like, and are they confident you're going to be able to maintain these facilities into the future and staffing levels. So that's where we've been working on, waiting to get some of this construction underway or finished, and then we can really put our best foot forward when we have our next inspection.
Great. I think that's always great. Thank you so much for that update, and thank you for working towards that accreditation. Okay, thank you so much,
Thank you,
Manager Fisher. Okay, I think now we will have our library staff report with Director Sternberg.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Herrera and members of the commission. I'm just going to provide you with a brief report on some of our events forthcoming towards the end of April here, and some of the events that we had earlier in the month. The first, of course, is our 15th annual Dia de los Libros, Dia de los Niños, Children's Day Book Day. The Santa Ana Public Library will have this Saturday, April 29th from 10:30 a.m. to 2:00 p.m. at our main library. This is really our signature large-scale event for the year at the library. The event celebrates the importance of children, literacy, and families. The free festivities will include a book giveaway for kids, celebration of National Arbor Day. There will be train rides, inflatable maze, make and take, and science fun stations, and of course, Pete the Cat, an elephant and piggy meet and greet, a bubble fest, and a special concert with the original author of the Pete the Cat, the series, Eric Litwin. So we're really excited to have him out at our main library this Saturday. The festivities begin at 10:30 a.m. and will wrap up at 2:00 p.m. So we hope to see you all there. It should be a lot of fun right here in our Civic Center between City Hall and the library on the south side of the library building. Really exciting stuff. A little bit more about that. There's going to be magicians out there. We're going to have a Polynesian dance performance by Tupua Productions, and this is a dance group made up of local children from our community. There's going to be 3 food trucks out there, and there will be free food vouchers for those food trucks while supplies last. So get there early so you can get your free food from those food trucks. Then, of course, we're also going to have a resource fair with other city departments and community agencies out at the library as well. So again, this event is free for everyone. This Saturday, April 29th, 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. For more information, you can also visit our website and learn more about the event. Also this month, April is Autism Awareness Month. So the library had several programs to celebrate diversity and inclusion, especially for neurodivergent youth. One of our feature programs was a sensory story time, which is an interactive story time filled with stories, songs, socialization, and sensory play. Additionally, this was an opportunity for neurodivergent youth to meet some of our sensory robots, which include Moxie, QT, Kebi, and Nilo. These are robots that are specially designed to encourage socialization and interaction with youth who are on the spectrum. So we're really proud to be able to bring those robots out and really help the kids in our community be the best they can. So it was a really great event. And it really allows that type of interaction that they may not feel comfortable with, with another person. So having the robot there is really kind of an icebreaker for many of these children. So we're really proud of this particular event. And for more information on that, you can always visit our website. We have, all the info about those programs, and we do programs with those robots on a fairly frequent basis. So look for more of that. And then the last thing I want to tell you about is that we're in the very early stages of bringing another larger bookmobile to the city of Santa Ana. Just between July and December of 2022, our Knowledge Mobile, which is our current vehicle, made over 170 site visits. We checked out over 5,000 items and served almost 24,000 people, created 528 new library cards, and we attended 32 different special events with our Knowledge Mobile. Our Knowledge Mobile is it's a Ford Transit van. So this next vehicle that was just approved by council at our last city council meeting will be a much larger chassis, a Ford F-59 chassis. So think this is more like food truck size, but still small enough where we don't need that commercial driver's license. So we have the flexibility to get in it and go, when we want, where we want. We don't need to worry about those special driver's license and things like that. So we're happy that we could get it just under that length. This new vehicle will be equipped with a more robust technological platform that includes a large screen TV on the outside for maybe things like movies or video games. It's going to have a sound system and a PA system on the outside, and just really have more space for people to come on board the vehicle, more space to kind of check it out, look at books, check out books while you're on the vehicle, and then of course interact with staff and other members of the community. So it's really an exciting, it will be an exciting addition to our vehicle that we already have. So, and just more of an opportunity because we are limited on our physical locations. So it's just another way for us to get out and just into the community and into neighborhoods that we may not have been able to reach otherwise. And then of course, at the end of my presentation, I always give you guys a wrap up of all the programs that we did in April. You can see many programs, and you can check those out online. Feel free to, of course, spread the word on the programs that we have every month. We have calendars that are online. You can print those out, or you can come on into the library and grab a calendar. They're always available. So that's it for my report. I'm here to take any questions if you have them.
Any questions or comments from the commission?
Thank you, Commissioner Diaz.
Of course, yes. I did want to happy National Library Week.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
I think that was something that I did see on social media and online about folks were kind of honoring different Parks and Rec cities. We're kind of highlighting that. And thank you for highlighting Autism Awareness Month. I think I was able to research Able Coffee Roasters in Huntington Beach. They employ people with autism. So I think I just wanted to highlight that for the public to go make a visit to this coffee shop. And I did, I think more so, I think just comments generally in relationship to, I know banned books are kind of like a conversation that are happening. So, I don't know, I may have seen something in the past, but I would encourage you to maybe think about like, hey, we honor this type of knowledge, for our public. And so maybe in the future or, kind of, I think some banned book event or, I was just thinking about it and I was like, wait, hold on, this is who we are as a city about the, what content at least is being banned, And I know LGBTQ Pride Month is coming up, and I continue to encourage any sort of events that you may have. June is like book club month, is the book of the month, or some sort of LGBTQ author. I think would be great, and I might be meeting with school board member Hector Bustos to see how we can kind of, I quickly dropped into, was it the True Colors Club? And I'm like, okay, dang, okay, how do we maybe partner with the school district or the school LGBTQ clubs on within our schools to kind of maybe bring the books to them, or, I'm just trying to think through like, how do we make the connection between our library services and our LGBTQ youth at the school? So just general comments that I wanted to make, but thank you so much for the work that you're doing. It's so much robust things with the new libraries that we have, as well as the mobile services but thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your comments. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, members of the commission.
Okay, now we will move on to Susie Furjanek for our Parks Planner to give us a report on parks and facilities.
Hello again. Okay, a few things that I wanted to highlight in the report. One was we just learned that our CDBG grant application for the Logan Park and Center renovation design is being recommended for award. So when that happens on July 1st, we will kick off the process to begin. We also tomorrow are going to be submitting a grant to a program administered by Caltrans, California Department of Transportation. It's called Clean California. And it's for a project we're calling Walnut Street Urban Greening. And it's very similar to a project that I spoke to you about last month called King Street Urban Greening, where we're taking a section of street. King Street is already closed. Walnut, we are going to close and turn it into public outdoor space. This project was conceived through the South Main Vision Plan that was adopted by City Council in 2016. And that plan captured all of Main Street from First Street down to Warner. And it was a project to increase walkability in the South Main Business District and do improvements to invite businesses in and kind of gear up for the mixed use development that will be coming along that focus area. And in the process of developing that plan, there was a lot of community outreach, and there were some areas for open space or park area identified, because as we learned earlier, we don't have anything in that area. So this little section on Walnut Street was identified in that plan. As it turns out, it is also in our Parks Master Plan. And we're hoping that this strengthens our application and we're able to make this happen. So we're going to be submitting that application in tomorrow, and crossing fingers, it will be a small project, but small but big. Projects. So we have 14 projects right now that are on the boards that we are advancing, moving along, and many of which are going to be advertised for construction soon. Projects that are in construction right now are happy to report that Centennial Lake is going to get renovated. The construction contract was approved last week, April 18th at the city council meeting. We're in the process of executing that construction contract agreement, and setting up the pre-construction meeting. So hopefully by this summer, not hopefully, we will be well underway with getting that lake renovated. It's a very big project. It's the first time we've made this kind of investment in the lake since it was built back in late 1970s. And it is a very unique, comprehensive approach in trying to make it biologically balanced and more lake-like and less pool-like. So it's pretty exciting project, and there is a lot to it. And we're excited that we're finally able to make it happen. July is going to be a very big month. July 1st is the target completion date now for the Santiago Park Gas House area improvements. It's also the target completion date for the Ed Carruthers Park. It is also the target completion date for the first big phase of Santa Anita. I can't call it an improvement project anymore. It's a Santa Anita transformation project. There's going to be a groundbreaking out there, I believe at the end of May, to kick off the center, the new Santa Anita Center, which was added to the park improvement project. At that time, everybody will get an opportunity to come out and see what's been done over the course of the last year, and you will not recognize the site. It is just amazing. It is just amazing. And I know when I was looking at the price tag, I was thinking, oh my goodness, this is a lot of money. And when you go out there and you see what it has become and has been transformed into, it's well worth every dollar. It's like, wow, we're getting all this for 11 million. It's pretty amazing. And I'm really super excited for you all to be able to see it. As I said, will be, the original contract where we're transforming the park. Those improvements are going to be done in July. We're going through the process, accelerating it, the process to design the new center. The existing center has been demolished. We're in the process of designing and getting the new center going. Where our target date for submitting those plans to the building department for plan check is July 1. Like I said, July is a really big month. So we're excited to move that along, and hopefully before the end of the year, we're going to see some actual physical improvements happening with that. Tell you, we also had a pre-construction meeting this week. Salgado Center is going to get new roof and new heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Like I said, we kicked off, had our pre-construction meeting. We're reviewing submittals, and we're positioning the project to implement in September, when we will have less impact to the programming that occurs out there. The new sports field lighting, the new Musco lighting at the Dan Young Soccer Complex is now complete. And we are moving in and getting to work on getting 2 new synthetic turf fields. And I think that's all that I wanted to highlight. And I will be happy to take any questions that you may have with regards to parks and projects.
Thank you so much, Susie. Yes, I encourage our commission to meet individually with Susie to inquire a lot about these projects that are up and coming. But do we have any additional comments? Commissioner Maria Zacarias Torres?
Good evening. A couple things that were brought up to me from some residents. At Campesino Park, they noticed that the cactus were taken out, and they noticed that that wasn't part of the remodel pictures. So I just wanted to relay that back to you and maybe just bring it up about people, a lot of people in the city are really connected to things like the cactus and the local fauna at the parks. Also, some benches could use some new replacement or remodeling, especially at Madison Park. I was also over there and the benches were not in the best condition at Madison Park. And then I also had some people that are part of the kickball team, the city's kickball team, that were looking for a park that's open later to practice in. And they noticed that there really aren't any parks that are open late to be able to practice.
I believe our parks are open until,
Yeah, so currently our parks are open till 10. If teams are looking to practice, they do need to make a reservation. 'Cause a lot of times they will need lights. And also sometimes, you know, if they want exclusive use to a field, they would need a permit to where if they just went out the field to, you know, kick the ball around and someone comes, you know, they're allowed to play. Sorry, that's my phone. They're allowed to play, you know, but again, they are able to get a, you know, permit to exclusively of the field. And on Campesino, we have replanted a bunch of cactus out there. Sorry. That's my communicator. But yeah, out there at Campesino, if you do get a chance to go into entrances, we have planted a lot of brand new cactuses back there. It was part of the, you know, revitalization of that area. So again, it'll take time for it to grow, but the cactus are back out there. And then on your benches, we have started to replace a lot more. George and his team are working on it. And then we also starting to put back in tables and benches we've taken out pre-COVID. So I know they're working on the northern side of town at Cabrillo and Portillo. They've installed some back there. And I know they're making way around the city to replace some of the older ones as well.
Any other questions for Susie?
Really quick question. Any update on the not Madison, I'm sorry, the Standard and McFadden?
yes, we are wrapping that up right now and it should be advertised. Are we April? It will be advertised in May.
I'd like to mention about the developed King Street. The Public Works has really done a good job talking to the community in itself, and it's going to ask us about having a mural there. And so they're getting our input and putting the community and also putting a neighborhood name there, which is really good. And I just thought it was going to be a park, but it's more so that it's going to reserve water that is floods there all the time. So it's going to preserve the water there that the city is using as reserving water in the city community. So that is a very good park, only servicing, and it was been a sad place for a long time. And so it's going to look really good.
Yeah.
And walkability, I believe it's going to be a good thing. So I'm looking forward for that to be finished, but that's going to be next year.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that project too, and it is fully funded. It will happen. And the stormwater handling that we're doing as part of that project, we're starting to collaborate more and more with our NPDES department within Public Works to make this standard practices at many parks, as many parks as we can. We can't do it everywhere in the city because we don't always have good infiltration. And in some areas of the city, the groundwater table was very high. But where we can, we are collaborating and doing our best to capture and either treat the stormwater or, you know, put it back into the ground so that it can replenish our aquifers. So King Street Park is one such location. Raid and Myrtle Park, I don't know if you're all aware, but we have a pretty huge underground stormwater chamber and the Walnut Street urban greening. So yeah.
Commissioner San Matthews?
Can you expand a little bit more on the Standard McFadden? What does that mean, a bid advertisement in spring 2023? Does that mean it's going to be opening soon? I know that lot has been.
Bid advertisement? Oh, yes, that just means that the construction drawings are complete and we're going to publicly advertise the project so that general contractors can bid on it. That's usually a 1-month period. Then we'll receive bids. The lowest will determine who the lowest responsive bid is and check the references, and then we'll take the item to City Council to ask for approval to award a construction contract. And once they do, we'll be able to schedule that kickoff meeting and get started. So it's usually 4 months from the day that we advertise for bids to when we break ground. So if we advertise, let's just say mid-May, by mid-September, we should break ground. You're welcome.
Susie, thank you so much for the presentation. I know we were also working on putting together a park tour.
Mhm.
And so I know we were maybe at our Parks and Recs Commission meeting next month, we can kind of do a draft presentation of the possible parks that we can visit. And I think that would be great, maybe sometime in July, August for a public tour. So then that way we give enough notice for folks to kind of be out there. I had a question in relationship to, do we have a grand opening planned for Santiago Park Gas House?
Yes, I believe we do.
Yes, we do. And again, with all this rain like that, kind of pushed that date back. But once we're finalized and we're getting to 100%, we're going to be working with all the agencies to have a grand opening for that. But it is getting close. And if you guys have had a chance to just walk by there, it looks phenomenal.
It's amazing. No, thank you so much. I would personally love to attend this event. Susie, I know that we had applied for the Coastal Conservancy grant for Santiago Park. We were awarded. Do we know when actual construction or kind of like the implementation of the grant or like receiving the grant or like a sort of timeline for this project?
This is the recent grant that
The Santiago Park Trail and Habitat Restoration.
Yes, that was for design.
Okay.
And we learned that we got the award. The next step was going to council to get a resolution to receive the funding. We've done that and submitted to the state. They're executing the agreement. And as soon as the agreement is executed, we're going to kick off the process. Next month, we are going to council to award 10 on-call contracts to landscape architects. And one of the reasons that we're doing that is so that we can maybe abbreviate so that we don't have to go through a lengthy RFP process every time we have a project. So we're positioned so that come next month, we should have an executed agreement with the state for that project. We'll be able to reach out to all 10 of these companies who have already been through an RFP process, who we selected as a result of an RFP process. We'll have 10 landscape architects on call that we can reach out to and get proposals from. And that's something that can happen really, really quick. And then we will kick off. So I would imagine that by June, we're going to be underway with design.
So it's it's like a conceptual design, but it's not the actual, do we have the funds for the implementation of it? Or
We
is that
don't have the
separate?
funds yet for implementation. It's for contracts. We have the concept. So this money will be to develop what's called contract documents. Those are the plans and specifications that we use to advertise for bids. That's what we're going to use this money for. In July, there is another grant opportunity through the state. It's called the Habitat Conservation Fund. We're going to use that program as a mechanism to request construction funding for that project. So hopefully these things will line up.
Great. Thank you, Susie. Yeah, I think continue to share with us any grant opportunities. So as a commission, we can motion to write letters of support, for that end. I think our commission would have some weight in that application. So
Yeah,
let us know. And I think we would very much.
I absolutely will. In fact, since we're talking about it, I was going to speak to this more next month when I had more information, but let me just tell you that, it was a very big week. So tomorrow we're going to submit to the Clean California for the Walnut Street urban greening. We also this week, today, we submitted a grant. I can't remember the name of the program. It's an energy related grant. We requested funding to upgrade the ball field lighting at El Salvador Park. Last week, we submitted a grant to the Metropolitan Water District for funding to re-landscape an area along the Alton Bike Trail off of Bristol Street at Alton. And then also tomorrow, we are going to be submitting a grant application to the State Coastal Conservancy for construction dollars to renovate the portion of Santiago Park from Main Street to the log cabin. So we've been really, really busy with grants, and I am going to summarize all of this with program names and dollar amounts and projects and put it in the report for next month. So you will have that information and we can talk about it
Letters of support.
further.
I love it. I'm happy to sign on as a chair for any letters of support.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I have no other questions, Susie. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Chairperson, I just wanted to make you guys aware, if you guys have not gone by Centennial Park and see these new lights on, you won't even know they're there. And I know I like to brag about Musco, Tim says, but we just took down 324 1,500 watt middle halide fixtures and replaced them with 118 1,100 watt fixtures. So our energy cost has gone down about 60%. And you guys know, when y'all drove by Centennial Park, it looked like a big old light bulb up in the air. It's no longer like that anymore, unless the high school lights are on, but it's something to go check out and just, check out and see, because Memorial Park's about to get that treatment. Thornton Park's about to get that treatment, and we're looking for ways to, like I said, be energy efficient. And what Susie and her team is doing, with all their trails, putting LED line out there. I mean, our power costs are just going to keep shrinking and the wattage. So exciting time with what her and her team's doing, and with Tim and our team are putting all these things in. So I just want to make you guys aware of that. But if you get a chance, go check it out. And it's great. And there's a really cool thing coming to the stadium as well. We're going to be able to, light up the stadium in different colors now too, come about mid to end of July, as well as have some show lighting out there. So it's going to be a really cool, enhancement to that stadium, and also be able to match our water tower, for, whatever we want to celebrate. So it's going to be really cool.
Great. Thank you for those updates.
Tim.
Now I think if we can bring Manager Pagano for the Parks, Recreation and Community Services staff report. Close this out.
Good evening, Chairperson Herrera and the commission. I have a very brief 45-point presentation for you guys. No, I'm just kidding. I was told I had 2 minutes. So to kind of just recap, we had our division meeting. We have a quarterly division meeting once a quarter, and all of our full-time staff members meet and we kind of share our success stories. We share what we're preparing for this time around the summertime and everything. And I can't express to you how thrilled I am to be working with such a dedicated amount of professionals that are just absolutely thrilled about what we're going to be delivering to the community this summer. I could go into detail, but I think, for the purposes of time and everything, I'm going to focus tonight on just some of the projects that have been completed and kind of the thread that pulls them together. Before I do so, one of the things that Mo in her presentation that she didn't get a chance to touch on is our new effort to gather in sponsorships. A part of our community engagement team is to raise funds, much to the degree of where we're seeing some of the decreases and everything, to kind of offset the general fund dollars. So your community engagement team has made connections with Cal Optima, with the Power of One Foundation, with a auto group, and a few others where we're actually getting monetary donations and in-kind donations to offset the services that we're providing at our special events and other programming. So that was a very good point that I think Mo wanted me to share and just kind of capture that before we ended the night tonight. projects and the thread that connects them. So there's 3 projects, 2 that have been completed and 1 that is on the horizon that are kind of unique in the way that we've done things. So Portola Park basketball court, the Cesar Chavez Campesino mini pitch, the replay pitch, and then also the playful learning landscapes installations with in collaboration with UCI at Madison Park and at Angels Park. Now, the really exciting thing about these is that 1, the city didn't pay a single dime. So we have leveraged our position, and much to what Susie pointed out, we're a big city and there's a lot of people that want to work with us. We just need to be open to, kind of going through our processes and, taking them through our process so that they see the value in, our city and, investing in our city. So with the Portola Park basketball court, we partnered with a nonprofit organization called Project Backboard and BJ's Restaurants. BJ's, I think I shared the last time, it started here in Santa Ana on 4th Street back in the late 70s, but they were looking for a project to bring back to a community. And with our connection with Project Backboard, Santa Ana was chosen. And I don't know if any of you have been out there. I know a few of our commissioners have been out there, but the court and the way that it turned out was just absolutely magnificent. And the community embracing the basketball court was fantastic too. We had an event on April 4th. We probably had about 350 to 400 people. I think Hawk says 1,000, but he's using recreation numbers. But it was just a great, exciting event to see the community come out and really embrace what was done out there. Very vibrant, aesthetically pleasing court design. We even had an inclusionary element, which is part of what we want to continue to do and bring with regards to our recreation services and everything. And again, not a dime was spent other than some staff time to kind of walk them through the process and everything. And that was estimated at about $75,000 just, through and through from BJ's in a in-kind donation. And in addition, they brought out a full spread of food for the community. I think it was tri-tip, pizza, Pazookies. They had the whole thing. And it was great. A lot of people walked away very happy. The mini pitch at Cesar Chavez Campesino partnered with a whole lot of organizations, but specifically PepsiCo and Lay's, the UEFA Foundation, Common Goal, and Pure Game, which is a local entity. And again, a really great opportunity. What's really exciting about this one is we're one of 6 globally of this type of system, one of 6, and we're the first one in the United States. So other pitches are in Mexico, South Africa, Italy, the UK, and Santa Ana. When you look at the website, you see us with all those different, city states and all that type of stuff. It's absolutely fantastic. So again, a really great opportunity. The total install, I actually had a phone call with our partners today, because it's California, because it's Santa Ana, because it's the United States. Typically, these systems cost to install is probably roughly around about $200,000. For all the labor and all the materials that came through California, it was about a $500,000 investment that Lay's and PepsiCo brought towards the city of Santa Ana. And again, I know a few of you have been out there already, but the mini pitch is absolutely fantastic. Some of the anecdotal evidence that we got from our community members, an older gentleman the day of our grand opening, which took place on April 19th, said this was one of the nicest things he's seen in the Santa Ana Park. Kids were just going absolutely crazy for it, to see it in their park space and everything like that. And it was just a good feeling overall to bring that to the west side. I think we would consider that the west side, maybe Midwest. But, again, for the Santa Anita neighborhood, I think it was a very big win for us to put it there at Cesar Chavez Campesino. And it was definitely a great event. The other one is the Playful Learning Landscapes. This is a collaboration between the city of Santa Ana and UCI. Again, I was on a meeting this morning at 6:30 because we are one of a few groups, cities, organizations that span the globe. Lima, Peru, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. There's a few other in Europe that actually participate. I think Tel Aviv, Israel actually is part of this group too. And through our collaboration and our partnership, we're able to bring in installs that basically families, kids can interact with and get a different experience every single time that they come into that space. So over at Madison Park, we actually have a few installs. We have a fraction ball overlay. So again, it will kind of mirror some of the overlays that we have on our basketball courts. And it's a way for kids to play basketball, but in a different way to where they're actually learning fractions and how to shoot. Where depending on where you shoot on the court, you're able to add up your score in fraction-based scoring rather than whole number. But on the half court that we have over at Madison, they have a number ball. So for the little kids, they'll be able to add a little bit easier than the fraction ball overlay. In addition, there's going to be a board game that's going to be placed there. It's called Parkopolis. And so again, totally fabricated by UCI and Playful Learning Landscapes. And it's going to be placed kind of where the older building was, where we had a lot of problematic issues with unhoused individuals and all that type of stuff. But it's going to be interactive. And again, families, kids, everybody's going to be able to go over there. You know, if they're enjoying a ball game or if their friends are playing fraction ball, there will be an opportunity for them to interact over there. The two other installations are going over at Angels Park. They're going to be in the playground area once we go to resurfacing. It's How Tall Am I? So again, it's a prefabricated interactive install where there's different animals that make up a board. And again, kids will be able to see how tall they are in relation to those animals and all that type of stuff. And in addition, there will be a Loteria game that will be placed in there as well. So again, very interactive. Kids can play, families can play while other things are going on. So all of those installations are about another $250,000 at both those park sites. So your staff is working very hard to try to find different avenues rather than just relying on general fund dollars to keep on the improvement of our park space, engagement with the community, and again, bringing in amenities that our community truly deserves. And I think we'll be very appreciative at the end of the day. So with that, I'll end my presentation. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. If there's any questions that you have with regards to our summer programming, aquatics, summer day camp programming, anything, I'd be more than happy to answer your questions.
Any questions from the commission? I thank you so much for the presentation in relationship to the basketball courts, the mini pitch, and this here at Madison Park and Angels Park. I think that's really great in terms of incorporating some of those components. In relationship to the mini pitch, what would be the hours or kind of the reservations? I know basketball is like court is like, open, you just throw, but this, I did see like fencing or like a door. So I was curious to know more about the hours.
Sure. Community hours will be anytime when the park opens. So our parks open at 6 a.m. And Cesar Chavez right now doesn't have any lights. So basically go till dusk. The mini pitch will actually have lights, but they're solar lights. So depending on the charge and the day, it depends on how late in the evening they'll actually stay on to. Community hours will basically be park opening up until about 3 o'clock, because as part of our relationship with PepsiCo and Lay's, we had to partner with Pure Game. They're that local partner, right? And what they're going to be doing on a 4-day-a-week basis is providing leadership through play, curriculum to individuals 16 years and older. So that's kind of a leadership program, but also a gang prevention program that they're going to be delivering on a consistent basis. And then subsequently, after they're done at 6:30, again, community hours will begin again. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays will be all community time. So we felt that was appropriate, considering there's kind of a trade-off for the amount of hours during the middle of the week. But Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I think the community will embrace it. I know that we have plans to run an adult 5v5 league in the future at the mini pitch, partnering with our PAL cousins, from SAPD, to give them some space in their program over there. And then in terms of reservations, it will be a reservable space. So if a community group wanted to utilize it, they could certainly reach out to our reservations office and arrange that.
Great. It's a beautiful amenity. So I want the public to be able to access it. So thank you for that information. And I had a question that I might have slipped. Thank you so much, Manager Pagano, for this information and your presentation for, there it came. Looking at my finger, playing kickball. I hurt myself. Thank you for having us sign those, the liability forms. I know it's, for all sports, and we don't want to have the city be held liable for such things. And so I'm fine, my finger's fine. It was, the sport has been really fun.
Send your claim to Director Hawk, Scott. He'll take care of it.
Thank you so much for the
Of
presentation.
course. Thank you.
Great. Let's see. And now is on the agenda for commissioner comments. This is a time for each of the commissioners to provide comments if you wish, but not limited or required. We can start with Ward, we'll go down the ward. So Ward 1, Commissioner Sen Matthews.
I just want to really thank each and every one of you here today for a great update. I'm seeing some wonderful plans for the city of Santa Ana. So I'm looking forward to the new parks and all the new programs that have been mentioned today. So thank you very much for all your great work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ward 2, Commissioner Zacarias Torres.
I just wanted to thank you for the update on the Madison updates. I worked at that park when I was working with Parks and Rec. And I believe that if we have families use the park, then that will, and then changing the bathroom, moving it from the back to the front, is going to make a big difference in a lot of the issues that were happening at the park. So thank you.
Ward 5, Commissioner Wu.
Yes, there is a lot of projects that I'm very interested that I heard about today. So I'm very happy to hear about talking with the Fremont School about the joint use. And thank you, Roberta, for mentioning that about the joint use, because I had no idea that that agreement is not working in every school. So if we're working towards it and getting some agreement and we can get a presentation, I would really appreciate it, because I feel that we need to use our parks within the school in itself. So thank you very much. So thank you to Scott for looking into into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wu. Ward 6, Commissioner Gomez.
Just thank you to everybody, all the city staff. You guys are doing amazing. I love how much we've grown since I've joined the commission. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Our mayoral representative, Commissioner Diaz.
I'm gonna echo everybody else. You guys are doing an amazing job, and you guys are keeping us informed, to every single detail. That's, I appreciate it a lot. I just have another comment. I don't recall where I saw an event that happened, I think unveiling, I think it was a street hopper. But it was the invitation, if they say it was a special invitation to certain wards. I would like to suggest that, we extend the invitation to all the residents of Santa Ana instead of, singling out a couple wards. I don't know if it was, that's why I was like, I don't know if I saw it through, the one,
Helen Ship.
yes, I think it was that. It was, the invitation was sent out, but said, invited especially a couple wards. I would just like to suggest that, extend the invitation to every resident in the city, so that way some people don't feel like, why can I not go? It's not that, we're singling them out, but if we just put in, everyone is invited, it's just.
Understood. And we'll share that with our 8th floor counterparts, because I believe that event was planned through our administration department and organization and stuff. So yeah, I agree with you. Being as inclusive as we possibly can through all our events is the way to go.
But besides that, you guys are amazing. I want to say that. Okay. Thank you so much.
Executive Director, do you have any comments?
No, just to echo, 3 hours. We've been here about 3 hours, and you guys see, no, and it's a testament of everything that's going on in the city, not, Parks and Recreation with the zoo, with the library, and, and we rely on you guys, to put out the word and, to be out at the events and see what we're doing. And it's just, it's humbling that, the community is behind us, and it's a great community, and we're fortunate to have, staff, Susie, Mo, Tim, these here, they're just part of the piece of the pie that makes this entire, well-oiled machine go. So, it's just great. And, I did want to say, on Sunday, we are having our track meet out at the college in partnership with the Rhea Foundation. And we have over 200 athletes signed up for that on Sunday. So if, you guys looking at something to do on Sunday, you got Saturday, go check out the Library de los Niños, then, come out and hang out with us on Sunday at the track. And I mean, the Cultura is about to come out again, and, it's loaded. It's loaded with so much great information and pictures. And, again, I just want to echo the support from you guys, and, being our advocates to our commission, our commissioners, and, and again, we almost have everybody here, and Corey's usually here all the time. So, I mean, it's great to have almost a full board here, which, next time I believe we will have. And, just thank you, and just, you guys continue advocating for us, and having people, check out our social media, check out our Linktree link off those social media. Cause I mean, we put everything on there, and we're trying to be giving out all the information, and, our team loves seeing everyone out there for the event. So again, thank you guys for what y'all do.
Thank you so much, Executive Director. For my commissioner comments, I will work with Susie to think about for our next, it's like, dang, how many Parks Master Plan presentations are left, and there's a lot that we need to kind of get through. I think the joint use sites is a great next presentation, as well as what I was hearing over and over was our trails. I think our trails is also another presentation that we can also consider. I do also sometime in the future want to invite our neighborhood initiatives and environmental services agency here with the city of Santa Ana to maybe talk a little bit more about the environmental justice component of our Parks Master Plan, elaborating a little bit more about some of the work that they're doing there, where it may intersect with our parks. And it's been 1 year since my appointment to the Parks and Recs Commission. Yeah. So, I've had a great time here, and, I have till 2024. And so, I think that I've been able to attend a lot of the events. And so I've been, I love the work that you all have been doing. And, I will always continue to advocate for more funding, for Parks and Recs, and continue to honor the work that you all do for our residents. And so, with no further comments, this is the conclusion of the meeting. The next regular meeting will take place on Thursday, May 25th, 2023. Meeting adjourned at 8:37.